Hello.
Reverb off.
Going old school. Give me another mic check.
Test 1, 2, 3, 3, 2, 1.
Yours is coming in really low compared to mine. Well, now it's not. Now mine's low too. Fuck it, whatever.
The volume of our voice.
All right, people in the chat, what's up? How do we sound? Give us the info.
Yes. Give us
Please.
Give us the digits.
See my
The digititis.
shirt. Let me give the folks at the viewing audience the pre-show a look at my shirt.
Nice.
Bronco fat. I swear to God. This guy's killing me. See, this is going to be a boy who cried wolf kind of thing because he's going to keep doing that every single week. And then the week that it happens, we're not going to believe him.
Well, no, because we'll have validation from everyone else.
True.
Like, the clicking. No.
I'm going to try to keep my phone handy. So those of you out there that have my cell phone number, if my mic cuts out like Scott did last week, by all means, text me. Like, hey, asshole, your mic's out. And I'll keep my cell phone in a spot where I can see it at all times.
Yeah. I'm in airplane mode, so I'm going to keep my...
I am not.
I'm actually, based on our conversation yesterday, I'm keeping StreamYard here.
Okay.
As opposed to putting it up here.
Okay.
You're not looking at it.
No, but I can see my own StreamYard, so I can still see the chat.
There you go.
Oh, by the way, the whole recording to this desktop worked out perfectly last week because as soon as you left, I just immediately edited the audio, posted it right up. So
sweet.
So the audio episode was up on time.
Excellent.
So that might be the as Dave would say, the modus operandi.
Yeah,
from here on out.
It's the appropriate use of that term.
Yes, big words. I'm learning English,
motherfucker.
All righty. So what do we do now?
Try and take over the world. I'm actually going to pee.
Okay. He made pain sounds as he opened the door. So that just shows you the state of Dave at this point. It's like, ow. So, for the listening audience, I am drinking a little bit of Takamaka rum, the best rum you will ever drink in your fucking life. I know this bottle's empty, but I don't know if you can see that. No, you cannot. This bottle is full. So Takamaka along with Diet Dr. Thunder.
So I guess we gotta
tastes more like regular Dr. Thunder.
I guess we have to at some point because it's in my brain. I don't want to forget.
All right.
We got to discuss the level of nerd that we're going to apply for next week's topic. Like,
when we talk about what are we talking about next week, we can get into it.
All right. I'm just throwing it out there because I want to. The level of research that I'm going to end up having to do is going to affect that.
And that's fine. It's something I've been very interested in lately, and it's not even like a Gen X thing or anything else.
No,
it's just something cool.
Yes.
So we'll get there. We almost ready to start for reels. I mean, it's only 4:35, but fuck it, we start now. Be done by 6-ish.
Have a good long post show.
Yeah, and then you can go spend time with your lovely wife, Kathy.
That's right, I can do that.
So,
yeah, I'm good. Whenever you're ready.
All right, let's do it. And I hope y'all are ready out there. And again, keep me honest with the audio. I got my cell phone where I can see it. So text me if my fucking mic cuts out, as it will, as it is guaranteed to at some point during the show. So,
yeah, if the sound is generally
Ooh, Bronco Fett brings up Transformers. We do need to talk Transformers at some point on Gen X POV. That's got to be like an anniversary thing. That's got to be like an episode 20 or 25 kind of deal.
Yeah, that's a big one.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we'll put a pin in that.
What are we on? What episode of Gen X are we on? 12 or 13?
I was going to say 17.
17?
Hold on. Well, we have our Google Drive right here. So, okay, so we're up to 16 is the next episode.
Okay.
So, yeah. But yeah, Transformers, that's a big one.
I think that's a good episode, like milestone episode.
Yeah. All right, cool. We good?
Yes.
All right. Whenever you're ready, start the timer, and it's my toast.
It is your toast. Ready and begin.
To Gina Carano.
To Gina Carano. Here, move over that way a little bit more. That way,
So they can see it?
Yeah.
Oh my God, what is going on? I don't know.
There's nowhere we can put these where we can actually, like, this is good. We're actually social distancing a little bit.
Until you're like, no, put your hand closer. No, now move your hand this way. Whatever. But
Gina Carano.
Gina Carano, been getting a lot of shit lately for some of her social media posts. And I just want to say that Mr. Jason Roscom fully supports Gina Carano, even though I don't necessarily agree with everything she's been posting on social media.
You don't agree with something?
Yeah, and guess what? I'm not calling for her to be fired. Shocker, right? I know that's not exactly what you're supposed to do on Twitter. Like, I know the rule of Twitter is if somebody says something that you don't like, they have to be fired, canceled, or whatever.
Right.
But I mean, I guess I'm a trendsetter when it comes to that. So
well, let's hope so.
But yeah, I want the world to know that I support Gina Carano in everything she does, even though, again, I don't agree with everything she says, particularly when it comes to like the anti-mask stuff for the COVID. You know, she's not really, she's one of those people that's like, I'm not wearing a mask. Fuck it, freedom. As someone who's had the fucking virus, trust me, you don't want it, people. Okay, just wear your goddamn masks.
Yeah.
Hopefully someday this thing will be over and we'll have a vaccine. But
someday.
Yeah, but everything else, no, I'm cool with Gina. And I want to say this right now. I'm drawing a fucking line in the sand.
Okay.
Because of all these fucking nimrods on Twitter who are calling for her to be fired because she has an opinion that doesn't line up with their level of thinking. If Disney acquiesces and if they actually fire her, I'm fucking done with Star Wars. I'm done with Disney Star Wars.
Yeah.
I'll say that. Period. Done with Disney, done with their version of Star Wars, because it would just perfectly illustrate the hypocrisy of these people. And I'm not even saying Democrats or, left-leaning people. I'm saying that this far left fucking Twitter mob, and this alleged influence they have. If for some reason Disney actually sees this and caves and fucking fires Gina Carano, I'm fucking done.
Yeah.
Fuck these people.
I can't see them doing that, honestly.
No, because again, that's the hypocrisy, because the thing that they've been preaching since fucking 2014 is strong female characters, right? Doesn't get more stronger and more female than fucking hot ass kicking Gina Carano.
Yeah, so, somebody who wants to actually display the female form as an art form, and being fucking shamed for that.
Yeah.
For doing that. Yeah, it's fucking, dude. People fucking suck. Yeah. Here's this line in the sand, right? This is how you know that you can judge somebody's character. What makes them laugh and what doesn't. Like, what's their sense of humor like? If you know somebody that has a sense of humor, like think our listening base, right? Think everybody that's in the chat right now and everything else. We all are amused by the same shit. We all have the, I don't know, it's not a sick sense of humor, but we have a particular sense of humor. And when we say something, and if I say something to you as a stranger and I can see how you react to it, then I know it's like, okay, this person doesn't have a fucking sense of humor. Like, doesn't appreciate the fact that, hey, these things that are being said, like this is being said in jest. Fucking, Baby Yoda going after the eggs and all this fucking.
That's in the notes.
Yeah.
So,
but it's the same shit. Like if that stuff, you can't look at that stuff and what's next? What's next? What else can't you see? Like, what level of violence can't you see? What homogenized product is going to make you happy?
Well, and that's the thing. It's somebody's always going to be upset. And you start trying to acquiesce to all of these people, then somebody else is just going to be upset about your fucking bland ass product that you're, trying to put out because you don't want to offend anybody, but somebody's still going to find something to be angry about.
Always.
That's why you can't. You have to just be like, fucking stop. Okay. This is art. This is how we're choosing to present this. We understand not everybody's going to agree with this. Sorry, but this is what we're doing.
Right.
Period. So and that being said, hello, everyone, and welcome back to All Things Star Wars, the greatest Star Wars podcast in the galaxy, coming to you 2 weeks in a row. Is that right? No, we skipped a week. But 2 weeks or 2 episodes in the last month.
Yeah,
so it's good.
It's well, we told everybody that if the Mandalorian was going to give us a product worthy of getting out on and cracking the vault for the ATSW podcast, then here we are.
Yep.
Because the quality of the content has warranted a visit.
Yes. But I do want to remind everybody that From a Gen X Point of View is still a podcast that is going to continue on a regular basis. We've just foregone that this week to do All Things Star Wars.
Yes.
We will be back next week with a really good topic. We'll get to that at the end of the show.
I see.
Fuck you. Fuck, now you throw out my train of thought.
Please be quiet.
Damn you. What are we talking about today?
We're talking about the Mandalorian.
Yes.
We're talking about the last 2 episodes of Mandalorian because, as you alluded to, last week's episode of the Mandalorian was very okay. Yeah. All right. This week's episode of Mandalorian,
lots to get into.
Excellent.
So, yes, we will talk about that today.
But you know what else I'm going to talk about?
What are you going to talk about?
I am prepared. I am prepared.
I don't buy it.
To talk about Podbelly.
All right, let's hear it.
And the Podbelly Network. If you go to podbelly.com, there is Podbelly Network members that are basically that's the backbone of what the Podbelly Network is.
Yep.
There's also other podcasts. If you go to their podcast directory, they have affiliates, but the Podbelly Network, the core of the Podbelly Network, is what we're talking to. And while we're talking to that, they have shows like Brewing the 99, which
it's a Magic the Gathering podcast.
Yes, we talked about that before.
Yeah, that's by Brad of the Sofa King podcast. He branched off to do a Magic the Gathering podcast,
which is fantastic.
If you listen to the guy or meet the guy, you would never suspect him as the type of person to play that game.
Right. That's
like
the thing.
He is the complete antithesis of the typical Magic the Gathering player.
Yeah, they're all the genesis of that's from the Sofa King guys, right? So you have the Sofa King podcast, and then they're branching off into their stuff with the Mind Frame podcast, Brewing the 99, all that good stuff. I'm just going to read you the list of our networks because I don't have specific social media stuff yet for them, but I have Art and Jacob Do America.
So he's
Changing Hearts and Minds podcast, Robots for Eyes, the Ectoplasm Show, which is hilarious. Warning, you will be offended. We're not sure yet. Nerds on Topic, My Age podcast, Paranormal Punchers, Path of Legends, Project Reclamation podcast we listen to, the podcast From a Gen X Point of View, Hillbilly Horror Stories, the Madman's Notes, R&R BG podcast. That's the first time I'm seeing that one, so I will be subscribed to that as soon as I get the chance. And Graveyard Tales. There's a lot of really good stuff here. A lot of paranormal stuff, like a lot of storytelling, paranormal stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone's entertaining. They're all part of this network for a reason because we all kind of operate on the same wavelength. So if you're enjoying our podcast, go and support the rest of the Podbelly Network, and go into the directory and find other podcasts like the ATSW Escape Pod and Used and Abused while you're out there.
All right.
But support the Podbelly Network.
Very good. And you will do it.
Do it.
So you had a note in here about SpaceX.
Yes.
Because that happened this week.
I did. In fact, as I rewatched the launch just before coming over here today for the pod.
Mm-hmm.
The reason I bring it up is as we're talking about the Mandalorian and the fucking sensation that is the Baby Yoda.
Mm-hmm.
They kept it a secret what their 0G indicator was going to be. Right. So there's a tradition within the Space Force, right? That when you reach that point of this flight where you're in zero gravity, they have an indicator, which is basically something that's going to free float around to indicate into the cabin.
Oh, okay.
That, and there's, I wish I could remember, like, there's usually
some pretty notable ones in the past.
There's been some notable. I can't remember what some of the greatest hits were, because I can't. But this week, their zero G indicator was a Baby Yoda.
Fucking sweet.
So it's fucking floating around in there. Nice. So Baby Yoda's in space as we speak.
Oh, that's awesome.
And they're actually docking tonight, I think at 10 something, 10:15, 10:45.
International Space Station.
They're making their, which I feel like initially they were only supposed to have like an 8-hour day, like from liftoff to getting to the space station. But because they weather delayed, they had that the remnants of that hurricane kind of going through.
Oh yeah.
And so they weather delayed, and then
would they have to make an extra orbit around the fucking Earth?
Something. I don't think it's that long, but you figure they launched last night at like 8:00, so it's less than 24 hours, or maybe a little bit more than 24 hours. Yeah. And listen, SpaceX. It's such a different space experience than what we're used to as fans.
About this, what was it, like a week or two ago?
Yeah.
Even the inside of the fucking ship, it looks like an Apple store.
It does.
Compared to like the early Apollo.
Yeah, it's all the fucking switches and knobs and fucking you can barely move around in there, and it still looks pretty fucking cramped. Yeah. Although the one thing I will say, I'm watching the launch, right? It's nighttime, and it's just so the capsule's just sitting on top of this fucking missile, basically. And I feel like with the Apollo program and everything else, like the capsule that they're sitting in was still at the top, because if you look at the Saturn V rocket, you had the Apollo capsules just kind of on the top like this.
Yeah.
Right. And then they had like a rocket on top of that for in case they had to fucking, eject, that rocket would go pull the capsule off the fucking Saturn V, and then they would, come down, parachutes would open or whatever. Sure. That was part of their egress sequence. But with this, there's nothing like that. They're the tip of the fucking bullet that's going into space. And I'm just like, man, you got to admire the balls, and, balls in the fucking, right. In the universal sense, not in
non-sexist sense.
Right. There is a female crew member on board, and she's been on, the Soyuz. Like last time she went to the space station, she went with the Russians. So it'll be interesting to hear her experience, like the difference in her experience between the two things.
The old either NASA or the Russian space program.
But if you're not following, if you're not following the stuff that's going on with NASA right now, with SpaceX and everything else, you should be, honestly.
And if you don't care about this stuff, don't listen to next week's Gen X POV, because spoiler alert, we're going to be touching on.
No, listen. You should be listening, because you're going to learn something.
Yeah. And
you're going to fucking enjoy it. And you're going to understand why we enjoy it so much.
Yes. All right. So that being said, do we want to talk about our weeks before we get into our main topics?
Absolutely.
Okay. So for me, I know last week I mentioned shit candy World of Warcraft. I'm done with that fucking game. So I've been looking for some replacements. Obviously, the Old Republic is a big one for me. There are a few. There's like 3 classes that I never played. God damn it. My fucking mic went out again.
Huh.
All right, sorry. Hopefully that's better.
Anyway,
thank you, Luna Girl. She's keeping me honest. She's sending me text messages every time it fucking goes out.
Very good.
So, anyway, yeah, the Old Republic is a big one. It's a similar type of game as World of Warcraft, and there are 3 classes that I haven't played the campaign. She's like texting me in big capital letters too. So I want to finish the last few storylines that I never played, be it the Sith agent, the bounty hunter, the Jedi consular. I want to finish playing through those, because one of these days this game is going to be closed down and we're going to lose this stuff forever, because it's not like, one of these fucking Xbox 360 games where, 20 years from now, you can still throw it into your old Xbox that still works and fucking play it. Like these online MMOs, once they shut down, that's it.
Yeah.
Like they're gone forever, unless somebody creates a private server, but it's still that there's a whole mess with that. So yeah, once they shut down these online games, they're done. So I want to get the most out of this Old Republic experience as I can.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing that it's lasted this long.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly,
it's closing in on 10 years, I think.
And the fact that it's a story that's being told that seems to be completely outside of the normal Star Wars universe.
Well, yeah, they did it the right way by putting it thousands of years before our current timeline. So they really have this freedom to do whatever the fuck they want.
Yeah.
And it's really not going to affect that timeline too much.
And I think they've done a good job too. There's been bits and pieces of it that I think have shown up in the mainstream.
Yeah.
Like that. And so,
and one of these days they're going to reintroduce Revan into the current canon. So, and because most of this timeline,
the dude's popular as all fuck. I mean, I can't imagine they're not going to take advantage of that.
Yeah. Disney would be fucking retarded to not.
They're all about the money. So, Demonet, as it were.
Also, in addition to resubscribing to the Old Republic, I've started playing a game called Torchlight. I don't know if you're familiar with it.
I'm not.
It's an older game. It's several years old, but it is a clone, what they call a Diablo clone. You know the game Diablo, where it's like the little hack and slash RPG. You're just running around, just like mass killing shit and earning loot and stuff. Well, apparently, Torchlight is the best Diablo clone that's ever existed out there. It's got 2 sequels already. So it's one of those games I bought on fucking Steam years ago when it was on sale for like $1.25.
Right.
You know, my Steam library is filled, by the way, with like fucking hundreds of games that I bought at like pennies
because they were cheap.
Yeah, exactly. Because they were on sale. I'm like, well, I'm obviously not going to not buy it. So, once I finished World of Warcraft and I had some free time, I'm like, let me play this Torchlight game because this actually looks kind of fun and I'm really enjoying it.
Nice.
That's the whole crux of this story, is that I'm really enjoying this game, Torchlight. I have the sequel also, Torchlight 2, on Steam. So if I finish this, I'll move on to the second one. And there's a third one, but it's fairly new and it's still full price. And fuck that.
Yeah.
I don't pay full price for games. So
you're a better man than I
know, right? As far as like health and fitness goes, I'm still going to the gym every day. I'm not boring everybody with my daily gym check-ins anymore and my daily Instagram photos, but I just posted one a couple days ago.
Yeah.
But
just to wet the whistle of those who were wondering what was going on.
Exactly. So I'm still going. So I'm still trying to, build some muscle and lose some weight. And actually, like, I'm noticing my gut going down quite a bit.
Nice.
Over the last couple of weeks. Like, we talked about it. I was going to the gym every fucking day. I was seeing some muscle growth and everything, but my gut was still there. And I'm like, fuck. So just for some reason, I'm looking at it in the last week and I'm like, oh shit, the fat is starting to go away. So
nice.
I've been feeling pretty good about that. And I'm going to keep going with it. Even though Sober October is over, I'm still, for the most part, watching what I eat, watching what I drink. Like, the only time I drink alcohol is here on the show.
Right.
And rarely do I eat like shitty meals. So I'm still, for the most part, acting the way I did during the Sober October month. Just, every once in a while I'll indulge.
Hey, it's a lifestyle thing, right? You gotta change your lifestyle to make that shit work.
Yeah.
That's why the fad diets are so hard to make work. Because it requires a lifestyle change, and a lot of people can stop doing what they're doing for a few months, but at some point they revert back.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm kind of proof of that. I did the keto thing.
Oh yeah.
Because Kathy had so much success with it, and she still does.
Yeah, she looks great.
Yeah,
tell her I said that.
I will absolutely do that.
Yeah,
and it's one of those things where when I was doing it, I was just unhappy. I was just so unhappy that and it was a lot of work for her because she was doing all my meal prep. So when she was making all this stuff and making me breakfast and everything else, it's the only reason I stayed with her as long as I did, because she was making my food. Yeah. But at some point, it's just like I'm just not happy with what this is. This is doing.
And if it's not working, you got to at least recognize it and adjust.
Well, it was working. It's not that it wasn't working, because I had lost weight, but
see, like, working up here.
No,
mentally, that's the thing.
Mentally, I fought it every day, and it gets to a point where it's like I'm fucking miserable for no reason. I mean, I'm exercising to a point where I'm trying to lose weight, but I'm not trying to, like, I never had that physique, like, not since I was like fucking 24, 25 years old, that I had like the 6-pack and all that build. I found beer at like, I was a liquor drinker until like 27, and then suddenly I found beer and it was like, beer.
Yeah.
And, like then
beer's actually worse for you than liquor.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
when it comes to like the weight and everything.
Yeah, so that ever since I discovered, wow, beer's not that bad, and it was all over from there. Me having a 6-pack was done by then. So I applaud you for your continued efforts in there, and I'm glad it's working for you.
Yep.
And I'll be over here eating shit and drinking.
Hey, whatever makes you happy. So
exactly right.
Last thing that I have is, the fantasy football league that we were all in the cantina is still going strong.
Yes.
And if my boy Cook, who's been on fire this year, if he does well enough tonight, I could move into number 1 in our league.
Wow.
After tonight's results.
So I actually had a note in my thing also, but how about our shitty ass drafts that Yahoo was like,
oh I know, yeah. How about that C+?
Yeah.
Or C- or whatever the fuck they gave
me.
That
and for me, the team I drafted is not what I'm playing with right now. I mean, I don't think I even started Le'Veon Bell recently. But my point was going to be that we look at our seasons, like I'm on a win streak that has taken me out of like 11th place.
Yeah, you were at the bottom for a while there.
Yeah, I was in the dregs, and listen, we're playing this for bragging rights, right? And I'm going to go ahead and like brag for the both of us because we were both not doing well. Our teams weren't doing well, and we scraped and we did things. We paid attention, and despite COVID and everything else, made some moves, and we fucking clawed our way into, playoff condition or better.
Yeah.
I have a couple really tough matchups coming up that I probably am not going to be able to scrape a team together against, and that's okay because at least I'm going to finish with a winning record.
Yeah.
I hope.
And then who knows what happens in the playoffs? Any given Sunday, right?
Yeah, it's exactly. But I say kudos to us for taking our teams from nothing and showing our decade plus of fantasy savvy and getting us back into the fucking swing of things.
Right.
In that same breath, I look, the guys that were on last year, like Bronco Fett, Orange Jacket guy, they got their shit together. They actually they learned from last year, learned how the thing works, and they're fucking competitive.
Yep.
And it's awesome. And I tip my cap to you guys as well for getting better. Because that's what we want. If you're going to participate in that league, we want you to be engaged. Like, unfortunately, I think we lost one this year.
Oh yeah, Robert Gibson. Yeah, because he was the runner up last season.
Yeah,
and then he just decided to not.
He was all in, and I hope everything's okay with him and his family and everything else. But from a fantasy perspective, he auto drafted and managed to get a win against one of us. That's like, oh god, this is the worst ever. But yes, the fantasy league is going strong, and despite the NFL season being a complete fucking shit show.
Yeah. Speaking of this, what about you and your week?
I'm going to go right into the NFL thing.
Teed him right up. You like that? So
what I'm thankful for is that we have a New York Giants listener.
Yes, that would be Lunar Girl, and I think is Dragon Buddy also a Giants person, or is he an Eagles person?
I don't think he's an Eagles person because Big Swede's Eagles.
Okay. So is it both of you? Is it both Lunar Girl and Dragon Buddy that are Giants people?
I don't know. I don't need to know more Giants fans, honestly. I don't care. But this Eagles team is not good. Like, and it got to a point. So yesterday, Kathy and I went out we went to Bordentown, which is where she works. And there's always been all this cool, like, fucking historical shit to see. Like, I'm a nerd like that. The place where, hey, this guy who signed the Declaration of Independence, he fucking lived here. Here's where this guy lived. Here's where Napoleon Bonaparte, his brother, he actually like left France and came and lived in the United States in Bordentown, and he had this whole fucking property out there.
Shit.
And we fucking
I had no idea.
We got onto the grounds and we kind of found some ruins and some other stuff.
And I saw the pictures of those, and that was pretty awesome.
Yeah, it's for as big as expanse as the thing is, like coming across the little bit that's there under the leaves and everything. We almost gave up on it, but then we kind of dug around a little bit and found some stuff.
Well, and that's along the same lines of that fucking World War I village or whatever that me and my family went and found. It's not there's not like big signs like here it is. You have to kind of go into the fucking woods and go exploring and try to find this shit.
And that's honestly part of like doing the whole thing. Like it's the adventure. Kathy and I were calling it adventuring.
Yeah.
And going and doing adventuring. And this time wasn't with the pup, although we probably could have brought her, because the one place when we decided to have lunch, we ate outdoors. So she probably could have been okay. But this was all during the Eagles game. So I was looking at my phone every once in a while just to get updates to see what was going on. Because the last time that I ignored the game, like we went hiking in Ricketts Glen, they lost. And I'm like, well, I had my fucking salute to service sweatshirt on. I'm like, yeah, Kathy had an Eagles thing on. I'm like, we're going to tacitly pay attention to what's going on and see what happens. And they fucking lose.
Superstitious.
I'm fucking Irish, man. The Giants, listen, I'm going to say this once, and unfortunately it's going to be on the air, so it'll be held against me later. But the Giants football team right now is trending upwards. You know, their young quarterback is getting better. They've had a good defense. They're getting better, whereas the Eagles are not. They're completely stagnating. Their offense can't run unless they got a gun to their head. And I mean, to me, I know there was Doug Peterson was on the Philly media today, because I saw it on Twitter, and basically Angelo Cataldi, who's a fucking piece of shit. I don't like those shows, because the people that call in there, it's all fucking it's clickbait on the radio.
Sure,
like that's how like all these fucking Philly fans that call into the fucking radio shows. Shut up. Anyway, we can have differences of opinion. I choose to not listen to yours, and I will go about my life. But anyway, he called in there, and I guess 70% or 80% of the fans, like on this poll, are blaming Doug Peterson for the loss. And Doug Peterson was all pissed off, and the fucking he said so. He almost hung up. He was like, he was pissed off about it.
Wow.
It's why? Because it's hitting home. Because his ability to coach this football team with the injuries and everything else, we got people coming back. We should have won that game. Miles Sanders had a good day. Carson wasn't great. Probably because he's on my fantasy team. For all the good things that I've done in fantasy, having Carson Wentz on my team has not been one of them. I had fucking Phillip Rivers on the bench for this game. Are we frozen on yours or just mine?
Everything looks good on mine.
Cool. So yeah, this Eagles football team is not a good football team. It just as like the Penn State. Penn State, fucking terrible. They benched their starting quarterback, and honestly, if Clifford wasn't tied into, I think my whole machine is locked up, or is it just that window?
I don't know, but luckily everybody can still hear you.
Okay.
Because
I'm saying that because I'm worried if I have to close the StreamYard out, it'll affect the broadcast, right?
The only thing it'll affect is like you'll drop out, but it's not going to affect the audio.
Okay, as long as it doesn't affect the audio.
Yeah, it'll just affect the video.
Word.
Riveting for the audio.
Yeah, see, and it goes to show, like, I'm talking about my fucking not good Eagles team and a not good Penn State team, and my fucking also not good Google Chrome browser right now, because it's completely locked up. So if I'm not on the chat, that is why.
Yep.
Nice. Little something from the island.
Indeed. And I gotta conserve this shit, honestly, because my supply may have run out.
Yeah, well, your main fucking your main mule for that is retiring. Yeah. So anyway, fuck the Eagles. I'm still gonna watch them. Like they're my team. I'm not like I'm rooting against them or anything else. I just like if during the weekend I'd rather be spending quality time with my wife than fucking sitting there screaming at the television.
It's probably better for you.
Yeah,
honestly.
One of the things that we found in Bordentown, one of the things that Kathy had planned out was there's 2 like record stores in Bordentown,
like actual record
stores.
Nice.
So one of them is this place called the Man Cave. Really neat little place. I wish I had the fucking dude's name because I'd shout him out on this, but he had like it basically he had records there, and like most of them, like he had some newer ones, like some were more expensive, but for the most part, it was like what you would get at a swap meet.
Sure.
You buy a milk crate full of fucking.
But those are the best anyway.
Yeah. Well, unless you want to play them.
Yeah.
If you just want the jacket, then fucking perfect. But you're spending $2.99 for a record, it's going to sound like shit. But I've been into the record thing. I said it on the podcast before. I found a record player for like $25, a decent, nice, really nice record player. It needs some work. I need to crack it open and do some electronics work on it. But it works. It plays, and ended up spending. Like Kathy took me in this place, and it was like 4 for $10, and I found all these Beach Boys records.
Nice.
So I'm into the Beach Boys. And
did you get Pet Sounds?
I have had Pet Sounds for a while.
Okay.
I bought it actually. They did a reprint of Pet Sounds, so I got that when it was reprinted.
Sweet.
So that's like a brand new copy of it.
Nice.
But I got like a Beach Boys in concert and Little Deuce Coupe, the 32 song like album thing, which I used to have on CD.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so it was fun and neat little store. If you're in Bordentown, stop by the Man Cave. Really cool place. We went from there, like kind of walked around. We did some hiking, saw bald eagle. I posted that on Instagram.
Yep.
And we went to this other record store, and this record store is more like a record store. Like that is their primary purpose in life, is to fucking sell LPs.
Yeah.
And the place had it was a little hoity-toity, I think, for like it was very people that were going there were like I like nothing but the best in my albums and shit like that. Like you're not bargain basementing the thing.
Like they always have that sense that they're better than you.
Yes. And when I was willing to buy a Simon and Garfunkel Greatest Hits out from like you had a bin out front for like $1, it's like, this is garbage. Like do you want a better one for like $10? And I'm like, I feel like I'm getting the upsell here, but yes, I do want that because there's a couple songs on that album that I really like.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, and I know I spent a little bit of money in that store. I got a Van Halen album, Women and Children First,
Nice.
The album that has my favorite song on
That's right.
I wanted that LP. I asked him about it. They had a big run on Van Halen, obviously.
Yeah.
And he said, he's like, I got prices online for some of these albums that were like just crazy, like $60-$70 for these albums.
And Bronco Fett wanted to reiterate hipsters. They're called hipsters.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. But us normies that were going in there just because listen, I'll say this. There's a lot of audio heads out there, and they can speak to all the different sounds and everything else. And I know what I like. I know what sounds I like. The reality is that I think that records, like the actual pressed LPs, have staying power for however, like throughout the next decades.
Yeah.
Like if you have a record player and the ability to like produce sound out of it, like a working needle, you can listen to that album.
Yeah.
You don't need a computer. You don't need like some mega sound system. You don't need fucking Bluetooth. You don't need any of that shit. All you need is a record player and the LP and some basic speakers.
And apparently there's a level of fidelity that comes along with records that it can't recreate elsewhere.
Exactly. So the sound, and it kind of reinforced it because I mentioned last week I'm listening to the Pale Blue Dot, and on the Voyager spacecraft there is like a record that they put on there. It's like it's made out of gold, and it basically has I'm not even getting into all the shit, but it has a ton of data on it.
Yeah.
That a relatively like any kind of civilization as at least as like to our advancement would be able to play it.
Okay.
And it has like it has songs like from all different all different decades of music. It has like important data, like what the countries look like, and all that other stuff.
I would love to find out like the full content of that.
It's you could Google it right now and find out. But those
put a pin in that.
Yeah, those albums were on there, and it kind of reinforces that idea. Like if you have this disc and you can somehow run something over that disc so that it would play into those grooves, then it's going to work. Store. If you have LPs, store them properly, and those things, there's no reason for them not to last.
Yeah,
storing them properly.
Right.
But like CDs, they degrade. Even if they're sitting in a case brand new, at some point that CD is going to degrade.
Allegedly, there's like a half-life with them.
Exactly.
It's, after a certain amount of years, no matter what, you lose some of the
and magnetic tape is the same way. There's too much going on. There's like chemical processes and all this other stuff that makes the tape not be necessarily as good.
Yeah.
So get an LP if you have a sound that you really, really like and you want to hear it like in perpetuity, then you should have it on an LP.
Just be careful, don't scrape the needle across
Oh God!
You ruined my record, man. I just bought it.
Oh, that's a button they have in Preston and Steve that they play.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Nice.
So last but not least, I'm gonna whoop this bad boy out. So I met up with a friend of the show, the John. I can't, my shit's frozen, so I can't see what's on here. Met up with the John. Fact is, you were teleworking that day, or you would have been with us.
Yeah.
And he got me this guy for my birthday. It
Either
is
lower it or move your middle finger because there you go.
Ow.
Yeah, right there.
Nope.
Because they couldn't see the Lego emblem. Your finger was right over the Lego.
Yeah, you go like this. So it's a 40th anniversary of The Empire Strikes Back. It is a bust, basically, of a TIE fighter pilot in Lego, and it's magnificent. Honestly, it's one of those things where I don't want to take it out of the box.
Yeah,
we talked about it pre-show. This has a place in my home for the limited amount of Star Wars stuff that I have.
Yeah, it's very similar to like a Black Series box. I was fully expecting to see Black Series on this.
Yeah,
the box itself has a really good presentation and is a great display.
I decided to unfreeze just now. And you can't see it. You can't see the box.
Yeah, you got to go one direction or the other. But
so I'm going to put it down.
Yeah, that's great though. Do they do those for other?
I have no idea. I didn't know that this existed. And for somebody that's like all things TIE Pilot, like you would think that I would know that this thing existed, right? Had no idea. So when he pulled it out, I'm like, what the fuck is that?
Yeah.
And I don't know if I want to open it. I'm probably going to open it. I'm probably going to open it and put it together because it's fucking Legos and I love it.
Yeah. Bronco Fett says he has a Boba Fett version of that.
Excellent.
So they do exist. And thank you, Lunar Girl. Another mic issue.
Fuckers.
Fucking piece of shit mixer.
Piece of shit. Throw you out the window. We should have like an Office Space moment.
Oh yeah, when we replace this fucking thing.
Yes.
Oh yeah,
I'll bring the baseball bats.
Nice.
I got those.
All right.
But yeah, so fucking stay tuned for when I'm going to assemble it. I'm going to open it. I'm going to assemble it because it's awesome.
Keep the box.
Absolutely.
As preserved as possible. We could fucking display it somewhere here.
Yeah.
So
somehow mix it in with the Sacred Pops.
The Sacred Pops.
God, the Pops. They're so magnificent.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, but that's all I got.
All right.
I don't know. What was the clock on my fucking my week?
Oh, I don't know. Is
Ivo G in the chat?
No, I haven't seen Ivo G in the chat. So
he's been keeping up in the sidebar cantina.
Yep. All right. So I think this would actually be a good time to take a break.
Yes.
We need to restock the ice because our ice delivery service got a job and she can no longer do this for free for us. So we're gonna do that. Take piss.
Yep.
Get some more ice.
And get into some Mandalorian.
Yes, and get into some Mandalorian after these words from our sponsors.
Who's our sponsors? Podbelly.com. You're supposed to get up now.
All right.
Like, what are you looking at me for?
I'm gonna get ice and piss in the house if you want to piss outside.
All right.
You need to.
What are we doing? C4 that thing. C4 would be fun. Or taking it to the range. Taking it to the range and throwing some lead at it. But ammunition is expensive right now. So probably not going to be doing that. I think a good old-fashioned Louisville Slugger is going to fucking work out pretty goddamn well. And I think if we have it recorded from several angles, it's going to be great. We'll have a whole fucking movie. We'll put the music on it. It's going to be great. Fuck that mixer. I still think the ultimate irony, I think in 3 years of doing a podcast, I've had one mic issue in 3 years. And he has like at least three every podcast. So it's very, very odd. And we've swapped out everything except the mixer. Like it's new hardware, it's new fucking mics, new this, new that. I've got a new computer, so it's nothing. The mixer, it's got to be the mixer. It's either that or it's just Jason. Like Jason just has some fucking weird magnetic thing. Yeah, no Ivo again. Sad face. Who else is going to bust my balls about my fucking week? I will say that Jason and I got here a little early and we were talking during the pre-show. I find that if I exhaust some of my, like, not really necessarily seeing people all day, like being in Zoom land and doing other shit, like for work, you don't really get to see human beings and engage in conversation with them. So I think, aside from like for work stuff, especially, like if I get all that out of my system, then I think my week goes actually a little bit shorter. Bronco Fett, the Boba Fett version of the helmet. How, like, it says, I think it says it's like 7.5 inches tall. Like, is it something that if once it's assembled, I could put it back in the box? Like, would that be possible, or do I have to disassemble it and put it back in a box? I'd be curious to that. Yes. We know the Roadcaster.
What?
Now Solsky's telling us what fucking mixer to get.
Oh yeah, that's the one I want to get.
It's fucking expensive.
Yeah, we just gotta get the funds.
Some of us have fucking. I don't know.
I'll figure it out.
All of our situations are a little bit different. Ugh. I'm still trying to figure out why my shit locked up and then just all of a sudden just decided it was going to unfuck itself.
I mean, is it a Microsoft operating system?
It is. It's running Chrome, but my other Chrome window was fine.
Yeah.
Like over here it was fine. This one.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's fucking weird, man. Oh shit! I just put all that ice in there and almost spilled.
I'm sure it'll be fine. Did you piss already?
I'm good. I'm empty after I drained before we started.
All right. Then give us the countdown and we'll jump right back into it.
Bronco Fett said yes, it would fit. Thank you, Bronco Fett.
What would fit? What are we talking about?
The Boba Fett head. Like I was saying, if I assembled it, can I put it back in the box fully assembled? And he said it would fit.
Okay.
So that's probably what's going to happen. Ready, set, go.
It's like the train is right in my backyard. And we're back. So, Mandalorian. We got 2 new episodes to talk about really quick. Let's just very briefly touch on chapter 10, or the second episode of season 2. Let's talk about this real quick, because I know last season, Bronco Fett especially was real particular about us calling them the chapters, right? We would call them, episode 1, episode 2, episode 3, whatever, chapter 2, chapter 3.
Yeah, whatever would make us feel like
whatever, dude. But we didn't really address the fact that they have continued that chapter.
We talked a little bit about
status.
Last week.
Did we? I was really drunk by the end of that episode. So,
fair enough.
But yeah, they've maintained that chapter progression. So, season 2 started off with chapter 9, 10, and 11. So it's illustrating that this is one continuous story. Mm-hmm. It's not individual episodes, even though you do get individual stories within these single episodes or chapters. For the most part, they're basically telling us this is one overarching story.
Yeah. And I think I brought it up before to my lovely wife, Kathleen, has actually been watching it because she's enjoyed the Baby Yoda show up until this point.
Of course, yeah.
And so we watched last night chapter 7.
Okay,
I believe it was
from last season.
It was the Bill Burr one.
Oh yeah,
which was very. Listen, it was a very deliberately different episode, and I kind of said to her, like, it's different directors, so the things that you necessarily liked in one, it has a different feeling in another episode because of the different directors.
Mm-hmm.
What we're going to talk about today with chapter 11, I think it shows that again.
Yeah.
When you have
Bryce Dallas Howard. Yeah.
I have trouble saying Dallas.
Yeah.
I don't enjoy saying the word
Yeah,
Dallas.
it like pains you a little
It
bit.
does.
You
It does.
die a little inside every time you say Dallas.
Especially because I really like her, and
Mhm.
just the fact that her fucking Dallas is in her name is terrible.
Indeed. So, real quick recap of chapter 10. It picked up right at the end of chapter 9 where he was still on Tatooine, comes back with fucking Boba Fett's armor, and stupid maintenance girl. Oh, I can't stand her.
Yeah, God, why do they keep bringing her back?
Yeah, but she's like, well, I've arranged it so you can give this fucking frog lady a ride to this other planet, which is where there just happens to be other Mandalorians.
Right.
The biggest thing that came out of that episode was Baby Yoda eating the fucking eggs.
Yeah.
Like, that was the biggest thing to come out of this whole fucking episode. And going back to the very beginning of the episode, the fucking cancel mob on fucking Twitter, people got really upset about this.
They did.
And it's like, oh my God. I don't even know where to start with this. It's, first of all, it's a fictional show.
Right.
That's not a real species that's going extinct.
Right.
Okay. If Baby Yoda eats every fucking egg in that canister, guess what? A real species is not going to go fucking extinct.
Right.
Get over your fucking selves.
Yeah, it really is. Like, and oh, by the way, things go in real life, things become extinct. Like, there's this human condition where it feels like, oh, every wrong in the world has to be righted by somebody. Is like, no, this is not a real world.
Yeah,
this is this is all make believe. This is the space opera.
Well, because
what space western for fucking the Mandalorian.
What's next is now they're going to be like, how dare the asteroids? Asteroids caused genocide. They killed all the dinosaurs. We need to cancel all the asteroids.
So we can blow up the fucking Death Star because it's full of white stormtroopers. I guess that's okay.
I'm not even gonna touch that.
I mean,
I'm not even gonna go there.
That's for me the problem with going down that line of thinking, especially with something like Star Wars, is like you're watching, you're not even seeing it's not human figures. This isn't a human doing this.
It's some half frog, half lizard lady,
right?
And her fucking eggs.
And that who the fuck doesn't secure the damn things in the back of the goddamn spaceship?
Yeah,
like they're going, oh, we're gonna go fly in space now, right? The fucking backpack's just sitting in the middle of the fucking Razor Crest. Like, fuck it. It'll be fine. Don't worry about it.
And I guarantee whoever directed that episode has kids of their own. Because if you have kids and you've ever had a fucking teenager, they will eat you out of your whole fucking fortune. Like, teenage kids fucking do nothing but eat.
Yes.
All goddamn day.
Yeah, they get it. And what's really funny is they don't burn enough calories, you would think, to fucking consume all the calories that they're.
Yeah.
And they stay skinny. Motherfuckers.
Yeah, youth is wasted on the young, but we digress. So yeah, that was essentially chapter 10. Is she told Mando, like, hey, let's or take Frog Lady to take her eggs to get fucking spermed on by her husband.
Right.
But for some reason they're fucking separated. Like the mom is on Tatooine and the husband's on. Where is it? I have it.
Some planet full of Mon Calamari.
Yeah, Trask. So,
which that Trask is familiar in the Star Wars universe. It's not the first time we've heard of this planet.
Yeah, I have no idea.
It rings bells. I just don't remember exactly what it was. If I had done research on that particular episode, I probably would have made more sense.
Yeah.
I'll tell you one thing though. This separation, like the father going away to, basically find some place where they can live, where they can survive. It's very reminiscent of, you're talking about early America when you have a foreign population that's going to America to find some place like, okay, we're gonna settle here. And there's so many stories about immigrants that come over with nothing, nothing, like a $5 bill in their pocket.
Yeah.
And with that, they're supposed to fucking find the husband who's been over there working and everything else, and then they join up and then they start their life, and then the rest of us fucking show up in here because that's how it started.
Yeah.
But that's what it reminded me of. I wasn't so put off by that because to me it was like, this is a Carl Sagan.
See, I never thought about it in that respect, but yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. Like the husband goes to fucking America, sending money back home every month.
Yeah.
But at some point the wife's gonna come join him, and I'm gonna jizz on your eggs, and we're gonna have babies.
I'm gonna lay eggs, but there's this whole thing that has to happen. Which I feel like they miss out on the happy, sexy part at that point. But but Carl Sagan, it was the Carl Sagan story, like in Being in Pale Blue Dot. He's talking about how his grandfather emigrated to America, and his grandmother came over late, and it's that story.
Yeah.
So I think the timing is everything, right? With making some of these connections.
Yeah. And Big Swede mentions nobody got pissed off at the Jawas eating the Mudhorn egg.
Right.
So what the fuck? Where again, the hypocrisy.
Apparently Mudhorns don't have sentience. Hey, Big Swede, do you have power? Did you get power yet? Dude, we had that storm that blew through yesterday.
Yeah.
It was a powerful line of storms.
Yeah, it was windy and just really wet out here.
Yeah, it threw my fucking lawn furniture all over the place.
Oh, shit.
And gave me some water in the back. But yeah, luckily, we're really lucky. We don't lose power. Like at my house, we've lost power once, I think, in fucking 10 years.
And
we lost it for like an hour. Big Swede, on the other hand, seems to have moved to a place where the fucking the telephone poles are made out of fucking ice,
styrofoam.
Yeah, there's some material that is not going to support anything in fucking wind.
Mm-hmm.
So, Big Swede, hopefully you have power.
And sorry for your loss this weekend. Not sorry, but. I at least have to be
talking about somebody who was on the upswing on fantasy, and then
that happens. Anyway, moving on. The only other big thing that came out of Chapter 10, Dave Filoni returned as an X-Wing pilot for a couple of scenes, and Mando himself, again, so incompetent, falls into a fucking like ice cave, can't keep fucking Baby Yoda under control, gets swarmed by spiders. And by the end, the ship, the Razor Crest, is completely fucked.
Complete shit wagon.
Yeah.
It's awful. Dude, how the Mandalorian throughout this entire series, through 10 episodes of this, gets his ass kicked on the regular. Right? He's getting his ass kicked, getting thrown around, fucking a little strong there, bud.
Love it. I think all the alcohol's at the top. I gotta mix it a little more. Jesus Christ.
That was a great face. If you're not watching on YouTube right now, if you're listening to it on the podcast, you need to go to our YouTube channel and fucking watch Jason's face of what just happened.
Yeah, I basically just took a shot of rum. So anyway, yeah, the incompetence of Mando.
Yeah, he gets his ass kicked on the regular. It's part of his allure.
Right.
I guess.
Well, yeah, and we get into that in chapter 11. So we roll right into chapter 11, right? He's limping to fucking Trask. Like the Razor Crest. First of all, they couldn't pressurize the whole ship. They had to pressurize just the fucking cockpit.
Right.
Because there's holes all throughout the rest of the fucking ship.
Yep.
And the scene opens with the Razor Crest just like fucking sputtering to the next fucking planet.
And they gave us that in the trailer. They gave us that image of the Razor Crest just fucking limping along. You don't know what happened. Little do we know it was going to be fucking an ice cave and space spiders.
Right. So yeah, and they land there. The landing scene is fucking hilarious because at first he's like basically free falling into this fucking dock, right? And the air traffic controller's like, "Hey, slow your approach. Your airspeed's a little hot right now." And he's trying like hell, like kicks in the reverse thrusters. A lot of like airline, lingo in this. And then we get a good shot later on in the show that I'll talk about. But yeah, he kicks in the reverse thrusters, which don't do a goddamn thing. Yeah. And he finally, like at the last second, he just stabilizes right before he gets to the platform, and then boom, something happens.
And he makes a comment. Right, he's like, there we go. And like he says something like that, and then it's just whoop into the water. That whole sequence, like Bryce Dallas Howard, somebody on Twitter had actually said that, hey, that looks a lot like from Apollo 13 when Apollo 13 was on the reentrance.
Yep.
And Bryce Dallas Howard went on Twitter. He's like, yeah, you're absolutely right.
Right.
Like you should look at those shots and you see like the entry sequence with the fucking going through the atmosphere with all the, the burning and everything else, the cut scenes to the fucking switchology and all the other stuff was her paying homage to her father.
Right. Yeah. The great Ron Howard, who directed Apollo 13.
Which is a fucking fantastic movie, by the way.
Yeah.
If you haven't seen it,
and
shame on you. Shame.
Bronco Fett asked in the chat, did Boba Fett's armor remain after all of that? Obviously. Like, there's no fucking way that they're going to introduce him taking Boba Fett's armor and not paying that off at some point down the line.
Yeah.
So
more to follow on that, I'm sure.
Yeah, which we haven't gotten anything, no follow-up to that up to this point. But they're going to.
This has happened on other, like, thank God we have a season of Mandalorian behind us so that we know that, like, what the fuck's going on with the armor? Like, we know at some point it's going to work itself out.
Yep, exactly. So, yeah, so they land on the planet. Frog Girl is reunited with her husband. Kristen like practically cried when that happened. So they're really appealing to the ladies in the crowd, which is fine.
Yeah.
Like I have nothing against that, but it does nothing for me. Personally.
Heartwarming.
Right. Like
whatever.
my heart died years ago, so I don't really fucking care. But then we get our first glimpse at Sasha fucking Banks.
Right.
And she's like a cloaked figure in the fucking corner. Mando looks and she's gone. So Sasha Banks, you probably have no idea who she is.
I don't actually.
She is a pro wrestler.
Okay.
From the World Wrestling Entertainment. So we've talked about this over the course of our podcasts where I used to be a hardcore wrestling fan. Like in the 80s and 90s, fucking I lived and breathed wrestling.
Yeah, because you went on the Used and Abused podcast and you did a whole wrestling show with those guys.
Yes. And one of the things that we talked about were people's entrance music. And in my top 5 was the entrance music of Sasha Banks, who was this third Mandalorian in this episode, because I've always kind of had an affinity for her. Over the years, I haven't paid attention to wrestling much, but there have been a couple of characters that I've, kind of honed in on. Like CM Punk was a big one, Daniel Bryan, and Sasha Banks.
Okay.
Because quite frankly, she's super fucking hot. I like her fucking attitude.
Right.
I like her look.
And she's a little exotic.
Yeah. And she was in this episode. I had no fucking idea. I'm
surprised you didn't recognize her face from the cut scene we got in the trailer when we're doing a trailer analysis.
That is that exact same scene. And for some reason, it never clicked with me. For some reason, I was honestly thinking that was
So, well, everyone in the world was trying to say that was Rosario Dawson.
Dawson.
Yeah, they were trying to make that jump, and I'm like, there's no fucking way that's not her.
Yeah,
and you could tell it wasn't a fucking. Oh fuck, I can't remember what Ahsoka is. Togruta, thank you. Yeah. It obviously wasn't a Togruta, like whatever, but yeah, I'm really surprised that that face didn't jump out of you then.
Yeah, as soon as like she took off her helmet this time, I'm like, that's fucking Sasha Banks. Holy shit! She does things to me.
Yeah, you had a little movement there.
Yeah. So I was like super excited to see her, but fucking Mando. This is another thing that's become a constant, at least in this season, is, Mando comes to somebody, they're like, oh yeah, I know where the Mandalorians are, just come with me, and they're right over here. And then it's a fucking ambush.
Right.
Because they want the fucking Beskar armor.
Right.
Which, I mean, I guess he's bringing it on himself, honestly, because he's walking around in this beautiful fucking shiny outfit.
Right.
And everybody wants it, but he's falling for it every single time.
So I don't know, like that particular scene, I got the impression that he knew, like he smelled a setup, but he didn't have anything else to go on.
Yeah.
Within the confines of the story, like you go into this spot and there's like, okay, there's 3 buildings. I can only go into one of them to find out where the fuck I'm supposed to be. Right. So I guess you're only as smart. Your intel is only as good as your options. Right. And his intel sucks because he goes in there and finds, oh, hey, do you know somebody that's going to this thing? Here's money. Yeah, there's this guy. Okay, great. It's going to cost you. Here's more money. Then you're fucking on this boat going, something bad's going to happen. They're like, oh, hey, we're going to feed this thing that's in the middle of our fucking boat for some weird reason.
Yeah.
Like, why is this fucking...
They drop all these fish in there and bubbles, and then he just fucking kicks Baby Yoda right in. It's like, whoa.
What? Oh, that thing. That thing. Oh my god. The thing in the boat. Was that the same
lady in the boat?
No. No, it's the lady in the canoe.
Oh, sorry. Yes. Derailed.
God damn it. You can't say anything after that because then I'll say, well, are you not familiar? No, because there's people that could be offended, like your people.
I mean, my people.
Well, if you say, hey, canoe is a certain size, and you say a boat is bigger, and then that implies something else. It's just that it could go bad places.
Wow, this is
how my brain works. Like everything I'm saying has this like strings of fucking reality that go out in front of it, and I pick which fucking string I'm going to go down. Anyway, the monster is in there. Is that the same monster that fucking Han Solo catches to bring to?
The Rakthar?
Yeah.
You're hauling Rakthars?
Yeah.
I'm hauling Rakthars.
I wonder if it's the same thing. Because I was thinking about the mouth when the mouth opened, and it just all of a sudden made me think about it.
Yeah,
And I wonder if it's the same thing.
It very well could be.
Rathars, I think.
Rathars, whatever.
Crackers? No, the Kraken? No, not
Cracker.
Bronco Feds. Is it the Kraken? No.
So what were we talking about?
We're talking about the boat.
Oh yeah, and how Mando again fell right into a fucking trap.
Kick Baby Yoda into the fucking thing.
Yeah.
Mando jumps into it. Who knew that Mando couldn't breathe in that fucking armor?
I know, right? Because he goes underwater and then he immediately
like, oh my god, I can't breathe in this thing. like he didn't know. Like all of a sudden, like, oh, this thing's not waterproof. Oh shit.
But thankfully, Bo Katan
yes.
and a couple other Mandalorians, Sasha Banks being one of them, show up and save the fucking day, bail Mando out again because, again, the incompetence. He can't fucking get himself out of a goddamn paper bag, apparently.
That moment when you recognize immediately, like, so these Mandalorians come in and like he's looking for Mandalorians, so you know, you don't know
knew some were going to show up,
in
some form or another.
And the fact that like when you see the helmet, when you see Bo Katan's helmet, you're like, oh, holy shit, I know what that is, right? And then they did it was so perfect.
Yeah,
they did it so right. Like if we're going to introduce this is how we're going to do it, and you're going to have this fucking moment of like just fucking
and not
Star Wars erection inducing fucking moment.
And not only that, but they brought in Katie Sackhoff, who did the voice of Bo Katan in both the Clone Wars and Rebels.
Yep.
You know, Starbuck, as Bronco Fett mentions, for you
Battlestar Galactica
fans, you know. But Katie Sackhoff doing the live action version of Bo Katan, and it's like that is the shit that Disney is doing right with Star Wars.
Well, that's the shit that Filoni is doing right. It's Filoni and Favreau that's doing that shit right.
Whatever. But I mean,
I don't want to give Disney credit for that shit or Kathleen Kennedy, but you know,
okay, I'll give
Favreau and fucking Filoni, they fucking nailed it. You had the right guy. You had fucking Filoni who'd worked with her in the Clone Wars and fucking Rebels.
Yep.
Like, okay, this is the person.
Yeah.
Like
why not put her in?
We drew this character in Clone Wars and everything else based on her. So putting her there in live action fucking makes total sense. Yeah. This is why, and unfortunately, my brain immediately went to fucking Ashley Eckstein
Ashley Eckstein.
Yeah, for Ahsoka. Like, if Rosario Dawson is Ahsoka,
what's
her
weird.
voice? It's going to be weird.
Let's come back. Be Ashley's voice, but we don't know.
We don't know. Let's come back to that.
We'll get to that. We digress. So this starts a conversation that I think has been very underrated. Like, not a lot of people are talking online about this, but you know, Mando's like, hey, thanks, whatever. They get the child back.
Right.
Bo Katan takes her helmet off. Right.
All three of them do. Like it.
Yeah. And Mando's like, what the fuck? So I wrote this down line for line because we have to talk about this. So he's like, you took your helmet off. You know, you're not Mandalorian. Where'd you get that armor? Bo Katan's like, this armor's been in my family for 3 generations.
Right.
And the dude that they were with, the not Sasha Banks and not Bo Katan,
right?
Whoever that fucking dude was, who I don't really give a fuck, but he's like, he's one of them. And then Bo Katan, and I wrote down her whole fucking dialogue. You're a child of the Watch, a cult of religious zealots that broke away from Mandalorian society. Their goal was to reestablish the ancient way. So this is starting to fill in that gap.
Yeah.
Because what we knew of Mandalore and the Mandalorians was what we saw in Clone Wars and Rebels.
Right.
Right. These, you know, it was made up of different clans, but at the end of the day, they were just normal people in this fucking armor who, you know, would take their helmets off from time to time.
Right.
Then we're introduced to the Mandalorian, which now all of a sudden everything's fucking different. It's like, what the fuck happened over these last 10 years or whatever?
Right.
Where now it's like, you don't take your fucking helmet off. This is the way. All this, you know, very cult-like shit going on. Now we're starting to get introduced to that, where she's like, yeah, you're part of this like religious cult, this Children of the Watch, these guys that broke off and they're like fucking weird.
Well, didn't she say too that like she made it the way I took it after I watched it was like the armor was kind of like one of the ones that was kind of leading that charge to like bring the ancient ways and everything else. I thought she said something specific about her, but what's this? No, Broken Foot's talking about the Republic Commando series.
Let it go, man. Let it go.
It's shocking.
But honestly, like, I think this is the most underrated like sequence of dialogue that we've had so far in the course of this show, because we really don't know what happened to Mandalore after Rebels. Right. As in current canon.
Oh, and he says, like, he gives the narrative that we kind of understand, that like Mandalore was poisoned, and couldn't go back after the fighting and everything else. That's kind of how we bought into that. Like, yeah, that's how we understood what happened to Mandalore. Turns out, not so much.
Yeah, it could be more propaganda, like more like the Empire just trying to play the different clans against each other, and these fucking zealots, these children of the Watch, against each other. So
Can we talk about how Bo Katan, like, the one thing that probably the one little thing that might throw people off a little bit is how Bo Katan doesn't seem to have aged over this period. Like, I saw a meme where it had like, all right, here's Obi-Wan, right?
Yeah.
There's Obi-Wan through this series and what Obi-Wan looks like in the same timeline. Then you have Bo Katan, she looks exactly the fucking same. So they did a great job of making her, I don't know how you age her without making it so that you don't recognize her.
See, the funny thing about that is I saw an article today that kind of expressed the exact opposite. It's again one of these fucking ultra progressives. It's like, finally, Star Wars is showing that 40 and 50-year-old females have a place in society and all this stuff, and I'm just like,
what?
Okay.
I did not get that from that, but okay.
Yeah, so basically they're praising Star Wars for showing that a 40-year-old woman can still have a place in.
Listen, they need to honestly, like, knock it the fuck off. This series demonstrates the fact that what you kind of alluded to earlier with Giancarlo, it's strong female characters and people of different races and origins and everything else are all inclusive in this fucking universe.
Oh, yeah.
And it's been like that forever.
Oh, trust me, you're preaching to the choir.
Yeah,
like, I understand that.
These fucking knobs that are out there, like, and picking up shit like that. My thing is, like, she looks fucking great.
Yeah,
for whatever old she is.
Katie Sackhoff is 40 years old. She turned 40 in April.
So she's younger than us.
Yeah.
So
now, if you're to your point, if you go back, Clone Wars was what, 20 something years before.
I should have saved the meme so we could bring up and talk about it. But
conceptually, Bo Katan probably should have been like 17, 18 years old during the Clone Wars. And
there's if you want to go have a super nerd argument about it, you can talk about time dilation. When you know what time dilation is?
Refresh my memory.
So in physics, right? If you're going and you're traveling at the speed of light for like 5 years, and you go out and you come back, like if you were 15 years old, when you come back, you'd be 20 years old, but everyone on Earth would be 60s in their 60s.
Yes,
because so much time would come by.
Yep. But that would like completely fuck the whole Star Wars.
Oh, universe. It would, because like, Star Wars doesn't give fuck two about physics. Fuck two fucks.
Yeah.
What? My thing's locked up again, so I can't see the chat.
Yeah.
This is fucking annoying.
So yeah, but ultimately, like, let's just say, like, there are women out there who age very well.
Yeah.
And without the need for plastic surgery or anything else.
And apparently on Mandalore.
Yeah.
Apparently Mandalore and hate. Because this broad, Bo Katan, is fucking, she is on a mission.
Yeah.
Like, it is not like, oh, hey, we're helping the rebellion, we're going to help humanity. No. She's like, I want my fucking planet back.
Yep.
I want my goddamn sword. Where the fuck is it?
Yeah.
I don't give a fuck what happens to you.
Yeah. And, and that was the crux of this whole episode was she's like, all right, Mando, I'll help you get this fucking child to, the Jedi or whatever, but you're going to help us first.
Right.
And she kind of plays on a lot of his loyalty and everything.
Absolutely.
Throughout the course of this. And she gets him to help them like hijack this Imperial ship, which this was the thing I was alluding to earlier. Can we talk about the production quality in this fucking episode?
Oh, God.
You talk about like the effects and everything else. There's a couple points in this show where you get some wide shots, like when he's on the boat, right? When he's with the fucking squid people and everything else, you get this wide shot of the boat going across like a sea. Beautiful fucking shot. Really well done. You can tell
Yeah.
they put a lot of fucking money into this.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
this is Star Wars like movie level,
Yeah.
like production and budget going into this
Yeah.
thing. You get another shot where the ship that has all these fucking weapons that the Mandos want is fucking taking off, and it looks fucking phenomenal. It looks like there was one shot where you see the plane from the back kind of lifting off, and you think about like real world airplanes taking off,
Right.
like watching them from a fucking airport,
on their departure.
Yeah.
Yep.
And it looks exactly like that, but you can tell it's all CG and it's all fucking really well done.
Yeah. Well, did they use, I don't know if they did for that scene, but I know that they do use some fucking miniatures and models for some of the flying sequences and things like that.
But no matter what, this episode especially, I noticed more than any other episode this season. The production quality was through the fucking roof.
So far, this has probably been the money shot.
Yeah.
For what we've...
Ladies.
Yeah. If you like, so I'm rewatching the Mandalorian series with my wife, and like she's noticing even like some of the movie quality. Like you forget it's a show. You forget you're watching a show.
Yeah.
And the only thing that really lets you know that is it's only fucking 35, 40 minutes long. Some of them even shorter. I think the egg eating one was fucking 26 minutes or something like that.
No, it could have been that.
It was shorter. It was a lot shorter. So, but you're watching it, and it's like, okay, there's some great shots here. There was some great like pull away shots. Case in point, last when we were watching the one with Bill Burr. Yeah. Bill Burr standing there, and the strobe lights going off. You see the Mandalorian here, then here, then here. That was a great fucking shot. There's been a lot of those in the Mandalorian.
Yeah,
and this one through kind of soup to nuts, like when you're landing with the Mon Calamari and going through all that, you're getting this movie presence. So like okay, this is filmed in it's wet. Like you're looking and you're like, oh, it's fucking wet. It's like it's
you feel like they do a really good job of making it immersive.
That's the word I was struggling with.
Yeah,
they're struggling to find. But yes, it's so fucking just amazing,
and it feels real.
It feels like Star Wars.
Yeah,
it feels like movie level, like fucking grab you by your fucking taint and just throw you into this fucking movie for all it's worth.
Yeah,
and it was like that to me. It was like that from the fucking beginning with the fucking sequence where you're breaking the atmosphere and fucking doing this landing sequence and everything else. Once he got down and going into the fucking water and coming out, you were immersed in it immediately from the beginning. And then those shots, it seems so natural. But this episode was such a turning point for me because it was the story, the culmination, as it were, of fucking, okay, here's the Mandalorian, right? As we've been calling him, like Mando and everything else. Yeah. Here's like the legit Mandalorians. These are the fucking people that are from the fucking planet.
Yeah.
And then having this encounter and him being like, whoa, no fucking way.
Right. And that's to go back to my point before where it's like, holy shit, there's like two different sects of Mandalorian. There's, our Mando, who's part of this apparent religious like sect of Mandalore that's completely separated from Bo Katan and everything else that we saw between Clone Wars and Rebels.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm really curious to see where they go with this dynamic throughout the course of the show, because there was another quote that Bo Katan had where she's like, we're going to get the fucking Darksaber back and we'll seat a new Mandalore on the throne. Is this where the show is eventually going? Like, is this where, our guy is eventually going to be? Like, maybe some sort of, like, combination of him and these other remnants of Mandalore kind of coming together and retaking the planet?
Well, before we get to a point where we're postulating about what happens next, like, there's some other big lead-ins into this. Like, when we're talking about what she wants the black saber.
Darksaber.
She wants the Darksaber.
Wow.
She wants the black saber, but she's going to get to Darksaber. The man in a boat. No, it's like her, like this drive. Like, okay, it's one thing to be like, okay, we're going to gain. You have this like rebellious theme. Like, okay, we're going to get weapons. We're going to supply this, blah blah blah. And then when she has that sequence with the Imperial. it's like, I think you make a comment about it in the notes where you're talking about these Imperials are the fucking, like, these are the loyalists.
Right.
These remaining Imperials are the ones that, like, hey, we're soup to nuts Imperial. We're wearing the fucking uniforms. We're having the protocols, everything else.
Yeah, because this is something to remember. This is after the battle at Jakku.
Right.
Because the battle at Jakku happened like 9 months after Return of the Jedi, something like that. And this is like 3 to 5 years after that. So even after the battle at Jakku, where essentially the Empire just like got completely fucking purged, the remnant like went off to the unknown regions to create the First Order. You've still got some Empire loyalists, remnants, whatever you want to call them,
and we're reading
around the galaxy.
We're reading about these when we're reading in the book series that they're canon now. You get an idea that these remnants are out there,
like the Equation Squadron and all.
Those, fucking all that bullshit. But this dude is like this Imperial officer who's obviously reports directly to fucking Moff Gideon.
Yep.
And he's like, not only is he like, all right, I'm taking out the crew, I'm taking out the fucking ship, and oh, by the way, if I don't die, bring everybody with me, I'm going to fucking bite the cyanide thing and fucking take my own life.
Yeah, which he does.
Yeah. So he doesn't get out any intel. The amount of this is, from a Star Wars standpoint, you never see anything like this.
Yeah.
You know, like interrogance resistance, like the idea that somebody would fall on their own sword like that is not something that you really see. Like Obi-Wan maybe with Vader, like in the beginning, but I think that had a much larger significance in like the greater, like his access to and his ability to use the Force.
Yeah.
But this guy was just he was just an officer.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And this officer who happens to know things was like, no, it's for the Empire.
Yeah. Which, by the way, the actor who played him is also the actor who played the Man in Black in Lost. So
yeah,
he's the brother of Jacob, blah, blah, blah. So this guy's he's well known.
Yeah, you recognize him. I recognize him from commercials, not because I never watched Lost.
Yeah.
But excuse me. The officer, that officer is played by a regular on Babylon 5.
Never watched that.
So. I have not. God, there's so much. There's so much out there. I'm not watching it. I'm not saying that like it by me not watching it is certainly not a judge whether it's good or not, because there's a lot of shit that I'm not fucking involved in.
Well, because a lot of this shit came up at a time when you and I were becoming husbands and fathers.
Yeah.
So that kind of took up a majority of our time.
Yeah, it's the challenge. Sidebar.
Yeah.
I didn't mention in my week. Talking about things that take up your time. So I for my birthday, I got a lot for my birthday this year, and hopefully,
most importantly, you got me serenading you.
You did
on the guitar with the happy birthday song.
I got that, and then I had like a little shopping spree to buy some records, which was nice, and I also got a video game. So I got the new Call of Duty.
Oh,
so it's Call of Duty Cold War. I'm not like the Call of Duty, like the Black Ops one. They started going in a direction that I didn't really enjoy with the gameplay.
Okay.
And then so when Modern Warfare came out, I was like, oh, I'm all about that, right? I'm a zombies guy. I like the fucking zombies.
I remember walking into the office when you and the John,
right,
would have your fucking zombie survival shit going on in one of the old ass Call of Duty.
Yeah, and the zombies that's out right now has that level of engagement for me.
Yeah.
And it's one of those where I'm like sitting there playing Squadrons, because Squadrons is at a point where it's like, okay, I'm really enjoying this, but like I'm at the computer.
Yeah.
Like sitting in front of the computer. That's the problem with it being on PC is like, if I'm teleworking all day, I don't want to spend more time in front of the computer. I'd rather jump on a console and be able to play zombies for fucking way too long. I'll go in there, and the nice thing about zombies is you get to go by yourself. Like, I don't have to go online. I don't have to worry about other fucking jerk offs fucking with their own agendas and all that other shit that don't listen to you. Yeah. They say, hey, we got to do this, this, and this. If you do this and listen to me, then we'll fucking get to this point when we get the box, and we'll fucking no. None of that shit can happen if you're fucking off running and getting yourself killed. Like, fuck you. Because in that level, there's more zombies. Like, if you have multiple people, there's more zombies than usual. And you go get yourself fucking killed. Now I got to kill all these fucking zombies. Fuck you. I'm going to play by myself. There's something. No,
Dave likes to play by himself. But
anyway, I opened that up and I left it for you. But anyway, so I say this because what I wanted to mention was if you have the new Call of Duty and you're playing zombies and you're not a fucking mindless fuck that doesn't want to that wants to run off and do anything, you actually want to get further in the fucking zombie levels and see how far it can go. Let me know because we'll go online and I will get you. I got to level 15 by myself, and I'm patting myself on the back.
Is there cross-platform play?
I do not know.
I find that out because if you can do PC to Xbox One,
yeah, Xbox is Xbox at this point.
I can do that.
Yeah, and we'll see. I'm not sure about the crossplay because I know the Call of Duty stuff, like the Modern Warfare and all that, has crossplay. So maybe it's with zombies. I don't know. I'll find out. But yeah, if you're out there, it's a team of 4 that they drop into this fucking thing. Yeah. Like if Luna Girl and everyone that I know would be like, hey, listen, I'm going to tell you we need to do this. This is an effective strategy against these fucking zombies. Fucking listen to me. Yeah. I suppose the other is they don't even get on mic. They're not even on a microphone. They're just fucking running around doing another thing. They're like, dude, just play your own private match. Stop fucking in my ability to. Anyway.
So, do we want to finish Mandalorian?
Yes, Mandalorian. Back to the Mandalorian.
Yeah.
Hey, the beauty of the sidebar is the sidebar.
Indeed. So, the last big revelation that came out of this episode was, they took over the Imperial ship, like you said, the Imperial captain guy, like fucking cyanide, blah blah blah.
Right.
Bo Katan tells Mando, like, all right, you want to return the child to the Jedi? Go see Ahsoka Tano on this forest planet in this fucking system, whatever it was. It was a bunch of fucking gibberish. So now we're introduced to at least the concept of Ahsoka Tano. We haven't seen her in physical form. We have some theories, but yeah, that's where, Mando is headed at this point with the child. So who the fuck knows where we're going? I have a theory. A lot of people are like super excited. They're like, fucking next week, we're going to see Rosario Dawson as fucking Ahsoka. I'm like, slow your roll there, champ.
Yeah, if this series has taught us anything, it's like the next episode is not when you're going to have your fucking, you're not going to come to completion.
No, yeah, you're not going to finish, so to speak. So I have a feeling we're going to have some more bumps in the road as Mando makes his way to this forest planet that she talked about, where he's going to meet Ahsoka. I mean, let's be real. The revelation of Ahsoka coming into all of this, into this current canon, where we are right now, that feels more like a season finale kind of thing.
Yeah.
Who knows what we're going to see? We don't know.
Yeah.
We have no fucking clue. And that's the beauty of this whole series, right? Don't get your hopes up if you're expecting to see fucking Rosario Dawson as like fucking Ahsoka Tano. Mando hands over the child and we're good to go.
Because that's not the quest, right? The quest is to return it to his own kind, not to the Jedi. The Jedi just happened. There was people know that there was a Jedi that looks like this fucking thing. Yeah. So naturally you're going to go to the Jedi, but the Jedi I don't think is the end of the story.
No, it can't be.
And honestly, I don't see the Ahsoka Tano connection to that is really, really good for us as fucking Star Wars nerds. But I think at the end of the day, like there's a lot of revelations to come. I think we're going to find out a lot about Yoda's species. I think we're going to find out a lot about the Jedi.
We have to, because at a minimum, either we're going to find out one thing or the other. Either we're going to find out about Yoda's species that we've talked about, or we're going to find out that fucking Baby Yoda is indeed a clone of fucking Yoda. Like, that's still a possibility.
Yeah.
Because we don't fucking know. Because we know fucking Homeboy last season had the fucking Geonosis like symbol on his fucking uniform and everything else. So this could very well be a clone. We don't know. And I think that's that's the appeal at this point. Like it's that mystery. Like, fuck, what's gonna happen next? They're doing a really good job of keeping us in their fucking grasp. And if you think for a second that next week it's gonna be like, oh, there's Ahsoka, here's the fucking child, show's over, right? You are sadly mistaken.
Yeah, and you're obviously not following the show appropriately,
right?
I think even more than that, my initial reaction is like, Ahsoka's not a Jedi.
That's true.
She has so he's going to go find Ahsoka, and I bet you that one of their first interactions is going to be like, well, I'm not a Jedi.
Yeah.
You know, I gave up the order. So, and then Amanda's going to be like, fuck, I was told you were a Jedi. I'm trying to do this thing. And then she's going to be like, well, you know, you could probably go over here and do this thing. Yeah. But in the meantime, let's do this side quest. Let's do this fucking side quest. And
I'll tell you where it is if you help me do this thing.
And then you can see the Mandalorian go, oh, fuck. All right, let's go.
And I mean, really, like, are we leading to Mando meeting fucking Luke? Is that where we're going?
No.
Do you think we're ever going to see Luke Skywalker in some form, be it CG, be it fucking Mark Hamill in the flesh? Are we going to see Luke Skywalker at some point during the course of this show?
I don't.
You don't think so?
I don't think so. I think we should make a board bet. Do you think so?
Yes, I do.
All right.
Like, I think at some point we are going to see Mark Hamill either in CG form, in deep fake form, or in fucking real physical form come into contact with fucking Din Djarin.
Are we saying this season or ever in The Mandalorian?
I think ever.
Ever? Yeah. I say no.
All right, $1.
I'm throwing my $1 on the board.
I don't have my wallet on.
And I'm saying,
but the $1 is going on the board. I will match it.
This is our first board bet of the fucking year.
Yes.
And I've been dying for one, but I don't think so.
So you do not think we will see Luke Skywalker in any form during the course of the Mandalorian?
I do not.
All right, I disagree. I strongly disagree.
And here's the reason. Here's my rationale. But you've already made the bet, so you can't renege after I give you all.
I'm good, man.
After I drop all this knowledge. I'm looking at Dave Filoni and going like, okay, where's Filoni's vector on all this? Like, he's making all these Clone Wars tie-ins and everything else because that's his thing. Like, the Clone Wars and Rebels, like, this is Filoni's baby.
Yeah, like, he created Ahsoka. He created Bo Katan.
Did he need Luke Skywalker? Like, for this vector that we're on right now, Luke Skywalker is not part of this picture. He's this like hero of the rebellion. We're seeing the rebellion right now as like the Dave Filoni in a fucking X-Wing. The random dudes that are fucking getting to shoot fucking A280s and
well, it's not even the rebellion though. It's the New Republic. They're already the New Republic at this point.
But yeah, for me, it's analogous. The reality is that this isn't about what Luke did to fucking and Return of the Jedi and where he's going. Because for me, Luke Skywalker he's buggered off.
Yeah.
This is, and you know what? It's probably because I have so much fucking the sacred text.
The sacred text.
I have so much in that my brain. It was like, okay, he's going to go try and start like the new Jedi Academy, and he's going to fucking go out and go and do all this shit. And there's no point in the current canon that there's any kind of convergence with Yoda until that scene in fucking Last Jedi.
Yeah.
So up until that point, Yoda is fucking out of the picture. Any interaction between Yoda and Luke. So for me, like, where's this convergence in the story? And I don't necessarily think you need it. I think Filoni knows that, hey, here's what I know good, or I know well. I know fucking Clone Wars. I know fucking Rebels. And here, we're going to start steering this way.
Yeah.
Because who's told the story of the Mandalorian?
Filoni. Yeah.
100%. And that story does not involve fucking Luke Skywalker.
For the most part, no. You're not wrong.
Aside from fucking from a shit show and with drunk Boba Fett and fucking Tatooine. Yeah. Well, you remember in the fucking in the Robot Chicken one? It's like, oh, I'm sorry, drink my spill. Like,
that we're being serious.
Umbrella. Hey. No. But when Boba Fett's with the fucking Luke on the skiff, and that sequence that's happening in Return of the Jedi, otherwise, Boba Fett's there for fucking Han Solo.
Yeah.
You know, the fucking whiny blonde kid, like nobody really gives a shit about him as far as he's concerned.
Right.
So I think the story of the Mandalorian is told by Filoni in a way that you don't need to have this Luke Skywalker influence. Now, if you're going to tell me that like, oh, there's some fucking random transmission that shows up in the fucking thing, then you're going to win. But I don't think we need that.
No, I don't think it's going to be that. Like, I think it's going to be a physical presence, a physical, like, you're fucking Mando, I'm fucking Luke Skywalker. We are going to be in each other's presence, having some sort of dialogue.
Look at this thing.
Yeah.
Like, see, look how cute it is. Like, do you recognize this thing?
Yeah. And I'll give that to you right now. Like, if it's some transmission, if it's a fucking holocron or whatever, that doesn't count. I fully expect the presence, and I expect it to be some sort of CG deep fake Mark Hamill kind of thing.
Sure, because it has to within the constraints of the timing.
Sure, but I think it's going to happen. We are going to see Luke Skywalker in some sort of physical presence throughout the course of The Mandalorian.
I expect to see your dollar on the board.
And I will put that there as soon as I can get to some cash. Because who uses cash anymore?
Nobody does. I've had that same cash in my fucking wallet for fucking like 3 months. Here's the thing. My Ahsoka Tano, this revelation for bringing Ahsoka into this is going to be more about she is integrated with the Mandalorians, like as part of the storyline. So
yeah, she was part of the final episode of Clone Wars,
right? So I think that what you're going to see is some sort of takeoff on that.
Sure.
There's not going to be any like thrilling climax or anything else, because guess what? They're filming season 3, right?
Yeah.
Or they're going to.
Mm-hmm.
So
they definitely renewed. So
and I don't know what you do. It's got to be like, as Big Sweet calls it, the Baby Yoda show. Like, the Baby Yoda show isn't what it is without Baby Yoda.
Yeah.
So the idea that even at the end of this season, that somehow like fucking the Djarin and fucking what? No,
Din Djarin.
I just said it all in one word. Like
Djarin.
That Djarin guy. Yeah. He's like, the idea that he's going to be separated at some point, or maybe they do. I don't know. Anything can happen.
Well, we don't know. That's the great thing.
And that's one of the reasons I don't like. I'm fine with Clone Wars characters kind of long gone that aren't necessarily part of the fucking the trinity of the movies.
Yeah.
That if you want to incorporate that somehow and touch base with that and have these little tie-ins, and I'm 100% cool with that. I don't need fucking Mando to fucking bump into Han Solo somewhere, or fucking Luke Skywalker.
Right. Well, I don't expect Han Solo, but I do expect Luke, only because of the Baby Yoda and the Force and the Jedi tie-in. You bring up a good point, because one thing about the first season of Mandalorian was that it attracted a wide audience. Right. People like your wife, who weren't really that big into Mandalorian. People like my wife, who were not really big into the rest of the Star Wars canon, but they made it appealing to everybody. There wasn't a major backstory, or the big backstory stuff was easily explained in a few lines of dialogue, but they centered it on Baby Yoda and everything else. As they're introducing these previous canon characters like Bo Katan and everything else, as Kristen and I are watching this episode, she's like, I don't know what's going on right now. Because she didn't give a shit. She didn't watch Clone Wars. She didn't watch Rebels.
For her, it's just another set of Mandalorians, kind of like the Death Watch people that showed up.
Right. But, there's obviously some things going on behind the scenes. Like, I get excited.
Right.
When I see her pull off the fucking helmet, there's Katie Sackhoff. I'm like, oh my God, this is fucking great. And she's like, I don't know what the fuck is going on. So that's a weird risk that they're running by alienating these casual viewers that they picked up during the first season.
Right.
That now, as they're watching the second season, they're like, who the fuck is that? Why are they talking about this shit? I don't care about that stuff.
Yeah, I'm at a point now with how they're running this series that I believe that Filoni and Favreau know that to go too far into the depths of Star Wars, so that the casual doesn't understand what's going on. Like, there's revelations throughout the whole thing. Like,
sure.
And for us, like, we pick up on the nuances of it. and the things
because we've watched Clone Wars,
right.
we've watched Rebels,
and we're super invested into it.
Yeah,
and like even last night when I was talking about something with the Mandalorian, and Kathy's like, "This is like
whatever, nerd."
Yeah, this is like, how deep were you on? It's like I'm just saying, like this at this point right here in this scene, this is where us Star Wars nerds kind of got a little excited, and she's like, I don't get it.
Like, I don't know, and I don't care.
Yeah, exactly. But I agree with that sentiment. I think that Favreau and Filoni are not trying to fuck up a good thing here.
Yeah, but at the same time, they are running that risk, even with the introduction of Ahsoka. Because think about it. If you're like some casual viewer who picked up The Mandalorian as part of Disney Plus, your husband or your wife who was super big into Star Wars wanted to watch this, you start watching, you're like, oh, that's kind of cool. Then they start getting into this deeper Star Wars canon. Like, is that going to turn off a lot of people?
I disagree. I think that they've done a good enough job of kind of spreading their fucking fire,
spreading their seed a little bit,
separating their eggs and their fucking sperm.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they've done it right to the point where we are going to this depth. We are going to this depth because we fucking did a Star Wars podcast for 3 years, and we have fucking read all these books and done all these things and done all this analysis, hours and hours and
shows and everything else,
and all this analysis. And so when it comes up for us, we are vibrating on that level. Whereas the rest of the casuals are just like, okay, like he's going to go see a Jedi. Okay, cool. Then he goes to go see a Jedi who they're fine with seeing aliens at this point, right? So they're going to see somebody that's like, oh, I recognize that person. It looks like Rosario Dawson, or maybe it doesn't.
Yeah.
And they go like, and then she's going to go, well, I'm not a Jedi. And they're going to go like, oh, wow, that was kind of a spoiler alert. And the rest of us are going to go like, yeah, we knew that.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck? I think you have to look at it from, we are going to overanalyze because we have this fucking corporate knowledge.
Yeah.
And this is our business. It's our business to fucking talk about this shit, right? We've been doing it for years in front of a lot of people. So I wouldn't get too hung up on that. I think that you can, but this is also why, like, most casuals know who Luke Skywalker is.
Well,
they've heard of Jedi. They've heard of Luke Skywalker. You bring a Luke Skywalker into the series, now you're starting to pull. You're starting, like, that gravity well's pulling you towards, like, this interior.
Like what existed before.
Right. And people like my wife don't give a fuck. They want to be entertained in that episode.
Yeah.
And all the Baby Yoda. Like, give Baby Yoda being cute here, Baby Yoda cute here, Baby Yoda run away from this fucking alien, Baby Yoda like holding it, like in that latest episode with Bill Burr when he's fucking standing there and Zero's getting ready to gun him down, and you see him like he's holding his hand up like this, and fucking the Mando shoots the fucking thing in the back of the head, and then Baby Yoda goes like, huh, right? It's like, it's that shit. Keep it going, man.
Yeah,
that money truck's gonna pull up every fucking night. That the shit happens if you keep putting Baby Yoda out there.
And then you get people like Dave who just keep buying the Black Series figures for everything.
Oh, pops. I buy the pops.
The sacred pops. That's what I meant to say.
Yeah, I have a Baby Yoda pop staring at me every time I'm in the car because it's my fucking little ornament.
Yep.
On the side there.
Do you have the Baby Yoda with the eggs pre-ordered?
So I made a drug deal with Lunar Girl because Lunar Girl and Dragon Buddy both ordered it.
I heard about that.
Right. So I was like, Lunar Girl's like, oh, well, would you have two? I was like, yes, please. I will buy that from you.
Yeah.
Because it was already sold out everywhere. Like within minutes.
Yeah.
It dropped into Sidebar Cantina, which thank you, Sidebar Cantina, for all the collective being on top of what's going on in Star Wars at any given moment.
Yep.
That's like, because most of the time if I'm going online, I'm looking at the Cantina. I'm not going on like normal like online shit. It's the only reason I go on Facebook, honestly.
Yeah.
And I see what's going on in there. I'm like, holy shit, there's fucking new pop. And by the time I get to it, it's already sold out anyway.
Right. And this one is the Baby Yoda with the fucking egg canister.
And Nick's notorious for this too. Like Big Sweet. He'll fucking like get this email that says, oh, this there's a new pop out. And they're like, fuck. Oh, God damn it. You know, the guy who's building has another shelving unit in his fucking house to house more pops because he's got more coming. But yes, I got a pin in a Baby Yoda with the eggs. It will go nicely with the rest.
The sacred pops.
And Yeah, I mean, we got hooded Yoda, we got the child. It's oh my god, it's fucking.
Mm-hmm. It's a good shit.
Yeah, it's really fun. It's really fun when Star Wars is exciting us.
Yeah.
Like when it's actively stoking that fire.
And the memes have been great.
Oh yeah.
When I think it was the the first episode where Mando was walking through the fucking deserts of Tatooine with like the fucking like his whole pack and all the shit on his shoulders,
right.
And people would make the meme. It's like, how does it feel? They like carry the whole weight of the Star Wars franchise on your fucking shoulders, and it's Mando.
Yeah, Pedro Pascal is in the hospital from carrying fucking the Star Wars franchise on his back.
But I mean, they're not wrong. Right now.
I would venture
this is Star Wars.
I would venture to guess that Disney Plus right now is being carried by the Mandalorian.
Oh yeah,
I would venture
to be.
I got excited. We turned on to watch the episode the other night. We turned on Disney Plus and Fantasia. It's the 80th anniversary of Fantasia. Like I'm a huge I
love Fantasia.
Fantasia is
Fantasia 2000.
See, I wasn't as into Fantasia 2000. It's basically the same thing remastered, but.
Yeah, it was a couple of new things.
There was a couple of new things.
I saw that in theaters actually when it came out.
Did you?
Yeah, Kristen and I we had to drive. We were living in Bakersfield at the time because this was right after I fucking separated from active duty.
Okay.
We were living in Bakersfield. Fantasia 2000 came out. And it's like Valencia, California was the only place that was playing it anywhere near where we were. So we made like the hour-and-a-half trek to go fucking watch Fantasia 2000 in theaters.
It would have been worth it just for the sound.
Yeah,
like
and it was great.
The orchestral sound is something that stimulates me, and hence my affinity for John Williams. But like watching Fantasia, and especially like for me, Fantasia, you dial it all down to Sorcerer's Apprentice. Because that's the fucking pinnacle.
Yeah,
right. That's Mickey with the fucking sorcerer's hat. The pop's incoming, but. Get Mickey in that area, and the music is erection inducing. I love it. So when I saw Fantasia on the marquee for when I logged into Disney Plus, I'm like, oh fuck! But again, the person sitting next to me was like, no, nothing for Fantasia. Like it's a very unique audience. It just happens we're on the same wavelength with something like that.
But, because I love classical music.
Yeah.
And I love Disney and the Disney animated movies and everything else. So it's a perfect
where my wife is on Disney Plus to see like for the live action Mulan when it came out and like having access to all the different.
Did you watch that?
I did.
How was it?
It was not bad.
Okay.
What you have to do if you're interested in watching this,
like I love the movie, the animated movie.
It's not the animated movie. It's not the same story. So the expectation that it's just a live action remake of the same movie, you have to put that aside. It's the same general rhythm, but it's a different telling of the story. And what they did well on that in the very beginning is they said the tale of Mulan and blah, 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 kind of with the narration over top of it with these fucking panoramics and everything else. The fucking cinematography is amazing.
Yeah, they put a lot of money into that movie.
But it says right away, this is not the story. This is a different telling of the story you may already know.
Yeah.
And it took me probably about 20 minutes of watching it to like get into it. Because I still was like kind of like I'm waiting for Eddie Murphy to fucking pop
I know
out.
he was the best.
Yeah, you're waiting for that.
Mushu.
You're waiting for that comic relief, and it's not there.
Yeah,
that level isn't there. But once you kind of put that aside and you're watching it for what it is, it's actually it's pretty enjoyable.
Oh sure.
So I wouldn't say that it's like better than the animated one. I most certainly wouldn't say that because the animated one is one of the best things they've ever made.
Yeah, it was good.
But. Yeah, Kathy enjoyed it. Like she's so, like Mulan is like one of her absolute 100% favorites. Like Kate got when she went to Disney World, she brought back one of the artist's rendering of a fucking print.
Yeah.
One of the animators fucking drew the thing and fucking signed it. So Kate had got it for Kathy, and we have it framed up in the house. Like she's super into Mulan.
Yeah, and
she enjoyed it.
That's funny. Kristen really is too.
Yeah,
like, she really loves Mulan.
Yeah, you should. I would make it a point to like sit if you have the moment to sit there and you're not going to watch The Mandalorian or something else. Then give it a. just don't go into the expectation like where's all the extra comic relief.
Yeah.
Like it's just not going to be there. It has its moments. It certainly does.
Mhm.
But yeah, if you go into it with the expectation of this is not the animated movie, you enjoy it a lot more.
Okay. Good to know.
We were one of the people that paid the extra, like we paid the $35,
Yeah,
whatever it was, to see it early.
And honestly, I'm okay with that.
Hmm?
You know, I know a lot of people are like, why fucking pay my $9.99 a month for fucking Disney Plus? Why should I have to pay extra for this? Motherfucker, do you understand how all of this works?
Right.
Right? Like,
we looked at it as if we had gone to the movies to see it, what we would have spent in the movie theater is basically what we spent.
yeah.
And then we have access to it forever.
Yeah. And you know, I mean, you're paying Disney for the fucking couple $100 million that they put into the fucking production of this thing.
Yep.
You know, your $35 is contributing to that. So I'm sorry, but like I know you're used to paying your $7.99 or whatever it is for Disney Plus to have everything, but
I think there was a point. I think it was in November that it was going to be on Disney Plus normal. Excuse me. Somebody can tell Jamie, pull that up.
Yeah.
When's Milan supposed to be on normal? But that whole conversation, that whole sidebar just lends to the fact it started with the fact that like the Mandalorian it has universal appeal and it's bringing people to Disney Plus that might not otherwise be on it.
Mm-hmm.
You want here? I'm gonna tell you the secret right now for Disney Plus and the longevity, because Mando's not going to be forever. Right? You're not going to be able to ride that shit forever.
No,
it's the Disney bundle, right? So I have the Disney bundle, so I get Buzzle. What?
We're cutting Dave off.
No, I'm congested. Like I'm suddenly really congested. Seriously, like you can hear my voice. You know, if I was drunk. Anyway, we pay for the bundle and it has Hulu, but not Hulu Live. Right. And it has ESPN Plus on it.
Yep, which I have barely touched.
Right, and I haven't either.
But Hulu is good.
Hulu is good because if I want to see a cartoon and it's fucking on there, I can usually find it, and that's fine.
Yeah.
ESPN Plus, they don't have anything live that I want to see. If Disney Plus wants to survive, then it's going to have to bundle with something that's going to give you live television. Because in its current form or fashion, it's just not going to survive.
Yeah.
It can't ride Mandalorian forever. The access to fucking Disney movies at some point you're going to wring that money out.
Yeah.
Like it's not a self-licking ice cream cone like a lot of things are.
Well,
you're going to have to incorporate some a la carte live television to that. Okay, here, instead of the Hulu branding, which at some point Hulu branding isn't going to be a thing anymore. It's just going to be Disney.
Yeah.
So if you want to have that branding, just go, okay, I'm going to buy Disney and I'm going to get a la carte this many networks live. Because if I want to watch fucking Monday Night Football, if I'm paying Disney for this fucking triple play, I want to see fucking football. I want to see Monday Night Football. I can't watch Monday Night Football right now, and they can go fuck themselves.
I 100% agree. And quite frankly, like we're getting a lot of opinionated people in the chat going, fuck Hulu. We got Bronco Fett. We got Isaac Sipe.
I think Bronco Fett's issue with Hulu is the fact that it keeps thinking he's in New Jersey. That's for whatever reason.
Yeah. I'm curious what Isaac's beef is with Hulu, but no, you're not wrong. I mean, this is the digital age, right? It's 2020 for fuck's sake. The cable format or whatever it is, that's fucking dead.
Well, the problem
already, let it fucking go.
The problem is the monopoly that it makes that happen. Like Comcast owns NBC Universal, right? So you have NBC Universal that owns a lot of the proprietary shit that's on television right now.
Yeah.
Then you have Disney that owns, like, it's basically divided into thirds, where Disney owns most of the Fox shit, all the fucking ESPN, all that shit.
ABC, and just like,
The only outlier is like CBS and some of the Fox remnants that are left over from the fucking buyout. You got CBS, and you got the random channels. But the reality is we're still living in like this cable driven monopoly.
Yeah.
And until some of that shit breaks up, like the Peacock network and shit like that, that's where the NBC Universal's going, or Comcast, or whatever the fuck they're calling themselves. The reality is, it's Comcast. The evil empire there is Comcast.
Which, I mean, Comcast falls under AT&T, right?
No, that didn't happen.
No. I'm sorry. You're right. Comcast, NBC, Universal, they're all one thing.
Yeah.
AT&T and a couple other things, they're one thing. And then you got Verizon, Yahoo, a couple other things.
Yeah.
So basically, we're talking like 3 different companies.
At some point with all this, they have to give us the option. Well, they don't have to do anything, I guess, but we'll yield to whatever it is. But I will sit here and complain about not having live television, but at the same time, I'm also not going to pay for it, because right now the juice isn't worth the squeeze.
Yeah.
Because I want to watch certain sports games. I'd love to have the Big Ten Network. I listen to Penn State on the radio and follow it on a computer. Because I have Sirius XM. So I can get that anywhere I want. And plus, it's on 990 locally here, so I can listen to it over terrestrial radio too. But I just happen to, I can listen to the NFL, any NFL game, and all the college football I want over Sirius XM. Yep. I'm fine with that. I can go about my life, listen to the fucking game, and be cool. Eagles, I need to watch my Eagles games.
But living in this area, you're always going to see their games.
Exactly. And if I didn't live in this area, then I'd be paying far out the ass.
And you can go fuck yourself, from the opinion of a 49ers
somebody who lives out of the area. You make your own life choices, man. I don't know what to tell you.
You're not wrong, and it's a sacrifice that my wife has been willing to make. So, either way, that's all for Mandalorian. What are we talking about next week? Because we have a new From a Gen X Point of View coming out next week.
That's right.
And it's a big episode. What are we talking about?
Write this down. MARS. Mars, bitches.
Because that's where we are going. Mars, Red Rocks. Yeah. So next week we're talking about Mars on the Gen X Point of View podcast. Yeah, because
here's where I want to have a conversation about how nerdy are we going to get.
We're going to get there.
Yeah,
we're going deep.
Are we going orbital?
We're going really deep, ladies.
Jason doesn't. You know what? Never mind. Just refer back to the man in a boat comment.
Right.
Yeah, I'd love, dude. I am super excited to get into something like to that level of nerdiness where we're talking about like some orbital mechanics, the history of going to Mars.
Yeah,
like the Viking landers, the missions to Mars that didn't happen, that got lost in space, all that shit. Because it's a lead into, like, look, we got the Crew 1 going to be at the International Space Station for the next 6 months. While they're at the International Space Station, we're going to have a new lander on Mars. That lander is going to have fucking all kinds of fun shit coming off of it. It's the amount of epic stuff to talk about. Bronco Fett is talking about how the Martian book versus the movie. No, I personally, I don't care about what. We want to talk about Mars, I want to talk about what the reality of going to Mars is. Not necessarily what a really good book.
There's some really good fiction out there.
There is when
it comes to Mars.
But that's not. I'm not dedicating an episode to that.
Right. No. And it's not going to be a whole episode, but it begs the question, and we'll talk about this next week. During our lifetimes, and I'm talking you and me,
right?
Dave Martin and Jason Roscom, will we see a human being on Mars before you and I die?
Yeah, we'll save the answer to that question for next week.
Yeah, but that's the big thing. Mars, 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 motherfuckers,
Mars, bitches.
Yeah,
I love it. Listen, all you people that are listening right now, and you're listening to the Star Wars. We just did a Star Wars thing, right? So we talk about space opera. We don't necessarily do science fiction on this show, and we're not this upcoming Mars episode for our Gen X point of view, because everything you're going to hear is from our point of view,
from a Gen X point of view.
Exactly. So, but I want to nerd out. There's so much, so much science NASA nerd shit that fucking is just waiting to splooge out into the fucking universe. And I can't wait to have a conversation.
We're ready to spread our human seed.
Yes, absolutely.
Throughout the course of the solar
the problem,
system.
the eggs are fucking 2 AU away.
We'll deal with that when we get there.
Hey, listen, and if you're listening to the show and you're like, I'm not into I don't want to talk about science nerd shit. Okay, I mean, I get it, but you can learn something.
Yeah,
we're a couple of smart dudes. We know things.
Smart.
We know things, and I think you could pick up some.
We drink and we know things.
It's facts, factually
As
correct.
Tyrion Lannister would say.
Yes. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah,
I don't want you to be turned off. I don't want you to listen to right now to be turned off because we're not talking about Star Wars and we're not talking about fucking the Breakfast Club. But we are going to talk about something that's important in our lifetime, because as Gen Xers throughout our lifetime, through the 70s and 80s and everything else, like the
space program,
the space program and Mars over horizon look for Mars. Like, what are we doing today that's going to translate to us going to Mars, and how do we get there? I think that's going to be a great conversation.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it's like that's the next step, right?
Yeah,
we've had the moon. Yep. We've had the moon landing. We have, apparently, according to NASA and the current administration, we're going back to the moon within the next 2 years.
Yes,
allegedly,
Project Artemis.
Yeah, so we're going back.
The vector is to go
someday.
The vector is to go to the moon and build habitable areas in the moon so that we can use that as a preparation to go elsewhere. I'm going to save my comments on that.
Yeah,
like scientifically, I'm going to save my comments from that until
for next week.
Yep.
So until then, first of all, if you are listening to us on the All Things Star Wars audio podcast feed,
which they probably should, because this is the Star Wars, did a Star Wars episode.
That's the one we pay for. Please, for the love of God, also subscribe to From a Gen X Point of View.
Yep.
Search iTunes, Stitcher, Google Podcasts.
Right.
What else we got?
iHeartRadio.
Spotify, yep. Rogan's fucking platform. Yep. You know, search all of those. We are there as From a Gen X Point of View.
Yes.
Search those, subscribe, download.
Please give us 5-star reviews. Go on to iTunes, give us a review. Find us on Facebook, give us a review.
Yes.
Find us on Instagram.
Do all of that, and we will suck your dicks.
DM a picture of your dick, and Jason will suck it on the show.
Yes. What Dave said.
Oh my God, if we get one dick pic, it's going to be fucking phenomenal. I can't wait.
I'll take it. If it means you subscribed, I will take it. Send us a dick pic.
The gauntlet has been thrown down.
Send us all of your dick pics. Please.
Send him all of your dick pics at Gen X POV. So it won't really go into your inbox. It would be in the Gen X POV inbox. But it might as well be just stamped and wrapped for you.
I don't care. I will look at a picture of your erect penis if it means you subscribed to From a Gen X Point of View. Because that's what this is all boiling down to.
Yes. We need subscribers for our YouTube channel so we can get our own URL, because fuck this extended URL bullshit.
Yes.
So create your fake accounts. Please.
Do it.
Yeah, we don't care.
Like, I don't fucking care at this point about Facebook or fucking Google's, terms of service and all this other shit. I don't care. Create all the fucking fake Google accounts you want.
Or you're creating real Google accounts that you will use.
I don't
but
care.
I
don't care.
You'll use them for your junk mail and everything else, but do it. Do it.
And please subscribe.
Yes, do it and share with your friends. And subscribe to our friends at the Escape Pod.
They're live this week for a new episode. I know they skipped last week.
Yep. And
they're back.
The last episode they published, I think, was about Star Wars. It was the future of Star Wars.
Yep.
Go out there, listen to those guys. Support them. They are the Galactic Refugee Caravan.
Yes.
And we love those guys. Subscribe also to the Use and Abuse podcast. You can find them on podbelly.com along with the Gen X Point of View podcast.
Yep. Or any other podcast app.
Yeah, all of the things. But use Podbelly and let them know we sent you. Podbelly plug inserted.
Yep.
And
Ooh,
also,
ladies.
And if you're interested in just a random dude from South Jersey talking about life, some Magic the Gathering, and just being fucking fun, and find Layman's Terms.
Keith Layman, our good friend.
Yes, find Layman's Terms, the reigning champion of the Sidebar Cantina's Fantasy Football League
so far.
Reigning champ.
We're ready to dethrone this guy.
We are.
Until then,
we're gunning for his ass. But you can find him on Facebook. Look for Layman's Terms. That's where he does his show. And it's just fun. He's just a fun guy. And if you're not in the Sidebar Cantina, you hear us talk about the Sidebar Cantina. You hear us go on sidebars and all that other shit. Search for Sidebar Cantina on Facebook. If you're a fan of the show, we'll let you in. You get to be a part of the fucking debauchery that happens behind the scenes, and you will do it.
And you will do it. Make the sacrifice.
All right, I think we're done for today. I think we have to get ready for the post show.
Yeah,
there is a post show.
If
you're subscribed to us on YouTube, you get to be a part of the post show,
and
we'll have some entertaining stuff for those people.
Yeah. So thank you everybody for sticking with us.
And for those of you watching, you could see the point where Jason got drunk. The switch got flipped. Watch it. Go back on the YouTube footage and watch
it. Whatever. Until next week, everybody and Dave, may the force be with you.
May the force be with you. Yes. Oh my God, you almost broke it. You did break it.
What in the motherfuck? All right.
Okay, now what do he click?
It's good shit. Right, let me export this audio.
Broke your shit. I gotta pee.
Fuck. Go.
Oh, ow. Oh, fucking foot.
Dude, can I turn off? Look at this. Look at this. Look what Dave did. Look at that. Dave did that. How did... I'm still gonna drink. What happened? My computer just locked up. What the fuck? ATSW episode 160 raw. Doing it raw. You know what? Fuck him, right? Because I have been so good through the course of October. And what are we at? This is November 16th. November 16th. I have been so good. Not drinking, not, going over the top. Like, I think I deserve this.
Yeah,
I really
absolutely.
do. Right?
Who's saying
with,
you don't?
With all the fucking, work in the gym and everything else. And
listen, this is, calorically, this is nothing to you. Although, don't eat the glass, because I see the glass.
Where is it? Yeah.
It's in the bottom. See it?
I don't see it.
It's there.
Oh, wait. There it is. Hold on. Stick my finger in. I'll stick my finger in like I try to do sometimes, and then I'll get rebuffed. But what? Nothing.
Oh, shit. Who's still here?
So I got my tongue up this chick's ass, and she's like, "Do I know you?" Sorry, Sofa King guys. This is the Sofa King glass that we had, but Brent sent us a new one.
Yeah, what the fuck, dude? Our friends at with the Galactic Refugee Caravan fucking gave us some quality shit.
Yeah,
and you sent some inferior product.
All right, I'm gonna piss. You entertain these people.
Bronco Feck says Dave gets up. Ow. Yeah, I'm still having I have a foot problem, and it's not that my dick's dripping on my foot. It's that I genuinely can't, my foot does not function properly. And walking 5-6 miles yesterday didn't help. But the good news is I actually have an in-person doctor's appointment tomorrow morning. So we'll actually see what the fuck is going on with that. And yeah. I listen, everyone, go look at rewind it. I want to know like the minute, because I looked at his face and I saw it change. I'm like, okay. But in fairness, he has earned it. I will not say it in front of him. What? Well, I'm scrolling up. There's eggplant in there. There's some potatoes on Mars. Oh, okay, yeah, that's talking about the Martian shit. Dude, I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's because I'm getting like older, or I mean, I've always been the type of nerd that like looks up at the sky and like huge into astronomy, like since I was a kid. I mean, there's like evidence. So the idea of all this stuff happening like in this timing, I really want for our generation to have the Apollo landing moment. You know what I'm talking about? Like that moment where you're watching on television, and it's not because the fucking world's coming to the end. It's not because of 9/11 or anything else, because we have that.
Yeah.
We have that. We were adults when that shit happened. We were in the military when that shit happened. I mean, we have that story. I want the story, the story that we can tell our grandkids that we were there when we landed on Mars.
Fuck. Okay. Don't.
Well, no. I'm not gonna shoot. I'm not gonna shoot a load for that.
That's next week.
But there's that story. Like I'm engaged with the SpaceX stuff because I want it all to. I want this trajectory to continue.
No, I am 100% in agreement.
Yeah, it's so nice to be able to talk about the space program. Please be careful. Is that the entire piece? Did you try fitting in at that spot? Make sure there's not another.
I'm okay.
I'm worried that there's a piece of glass in there.
Take a breath.
No, like put that piece of glass and put it in the thing to make sure there's not an extra piece in there. I don't need you dying on the show.
How am I gonna die from swallowing a small piece of glass?
Do you want me to tell you all the ways that can happen?
You're being a little dramatic.
Well, fair.
All right, we're trying.
It's fine. It's good.
You guys like puzzles? All right, here we go.
It's there.
Yeah.
No, you're good. All right.
Blame the Sofa King guys. They
fuckers
sent us this glass.
I know Luna Girl's in there losing her mind. Yeah, there she is.
Yeah, hold on. Let me pull it up. Wait. Fuck.
That's what
What
she
is
said.
she saying? Listen to Dave. I will do no such thing. Period. I will not.
Can't confirm that Tom has old man foot problems. Tom, your dick drips on your foot?
Wait,
Different old man problems.
Yeah.
You ever heard that? Yeah, foot problems where your dick drips on your foot.
No.
Yeah, it's like an analogy for fucking some sort of like venereal disease. That's a Sean Logan thing. It's a voice from the past.
Indeed.
How we doing over there? Doing good? You're teleworking tomorrow, right?
No.
Oh, you have to go in tomorrow?
No.
What?
No. 6 a.m. showtime.
Ugh.
This guy.
That's awesome. It's a good thing you go to bed at 9.
Yeah.
I was telling them that for my foot problem, I have an in-person doctor's appointment.
Yeah.
Like this is probably the first time in like 5 years where I haven't been in a doctor's office in like this long a time.
What?
Yeah. Well, think about it. I got MEB'd, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I was at the doctor's
all the time.
All the fucking time.
I remember.
Yeah, and it hasn't stopped. It hasn't stopped since I got out of the military.
But I guess because of COVID.
Yeah, for COVID, I haven't been able to see a doctor. So I got this to look at, and I'm getting the ECG for my heart. So I want to bring this up. For those of you that are in the chat, I know that you're fully 100% aware of our COVID experiences, right? So I still have the breathing problems.
Really?
Yeah, and so one of the things that the doctor's concerned with is that there's that enlargement of the heart. that happens. Like people that have COVID have this like enlargement of the heart, which causes like this breathing issue. Now it's supposed to be not a permanent condition, like that you actually like at some point that swelling will go down, but I guess it has something to do with the sac that your heart sits in. So I have to get that's what
Go ahead.
he said.
He said sac.
He said sac.
Yeah.
And, so yeah, I have to get an ECG to like they're going to basically take an ultrasound on my heart and fucking look at it and make sure it's not enlarged, and that's what's causing my breathing problems. Because honestly, they gave me a CPAP machine and fucking thinking maybe that's something that happened at night, and that doesn't really, it's not doing anything except making me congested.
Right.
And yeah, so I want so bad to get back into a like cardio routine so I can start like exercising, just to exercise, not to lose weight. I want to be able to fucking do something without fucking going up the stairs in my house to fucking catch my breath all the time.
It's tough, man. Like
sucks.
Like I feel like I had to do that thing where I forced myself to exercise every day, even though I was like fucking out of breath right away every single time. But I forced myself to do it, to get into this routine every single day. And that's the only way I got out of it.
Yeah. I fight it to the point where like when we go out and we do our hikes and shit on weekends, right? I go out and I'll finish the hike. I have to go slow. I mean, I'm not fucking out there marching around like it would be like, and the irony is like, even though I'm carrying more weight, it has nothing to like, I had like, you could have put me in a fucking strongman competition before pre-COVID where I could do like a lot of stupid retard strength shit.
Go back and look at our arm wrestling. You know, from what was that, December?
I don't know. Allegedly, that exists out there somewhere.
Yeah, there's a video of me and Dave doing arm wrestling. Yeah. Even though I was in shape, he was not.
Right.
And he still like held his own.
It's
so whatever.
Yeah. Anyway, the reality is I even pre-COVID, I was like biking and doing other stuff. And it's just, it's become really, it's become a challenge to the point where it's not getting better.
Yeah.
So I got to figure it out. This fucking disease, they have not figured it out.
Well, and there's still talk of like long-term heart effects. Mm-hmm. There's talk of long-term lung effects. There's talk of long-term other internal organ effects.
Yeah.
So again, like I can definitely see people getting into a point where you kind of let this overtake you.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like I've had fucking COVID, it's fucking drained me, and all of that's legit, but you kind of have to force your way out of that.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
And there's a lot of people that if they weren't in a good place before they got it, it's going to be really hard to get to the place.
Right. Which I was I was in a good place before that. So I was able to kind of like claw my fucking way out of it, but I can see people who are not in a good place anyway.
Right.
Who get fucking COVID, who like get kicked in the fucking dick as hard as you possibly fucking can, and then like attempt to try to claw their way out of it. Like,
yeah, my level of retard strength was more about the like, right before we got the diagnosis, before I like started being symptomatic, I did that roof, right? I did
the roofies.
I put a roof on my fucking Florida room, like by myself, all new plywood, like 3/4 inch plywood. Fucking put that shit up there. Did all the fucking shingling, carried the shit up and down the stairs, all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the things I could do.
Yeah,
like now, can't do it. And again, it's not because it has nothing to do with weight or anything else. It's really about like, when you get to a point where you can't fucking breathe when you're doing it. And honestly, the end of the day, it'll get better. Like I'm going to push through it. I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing. And eventually at some point I'll break out to the other side of it. Yeah. Like, but if it's funny, because if you look at, there's people that they get on a vector. It's like, okay, here's where you were in your fitness level and everything else. And then like, oh shit, there's COVID. And then, okay, boom, we come back out of it. And there's some people that haven't been on the other side. Football players. We just lost somebody at Penn State.
Yeah.
because the fucking he got COVID tested, and not necessarily he didn't get taken out because of COVID. He got taken out because like they found this irregularity with his heart. They're like, yeah, if you continue to fucking do this sport, you're gonna die.
And like, honestly, there are people that when COVID first started, they were in the best shape in the world,
Yep.
you know, like 20 or 30 something fucking folks, like nothing's going to hurt me.
And
they
them.
get COVID and they fucking die.
Yeah. And they died.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's crazy. It's such a fucking, again, I don't need this to be the definition of our lifetime. This kind of alludes to back to that point where like, if I can look out to what SpaceX is doing and look out to what's going on with something that's so far. If you're in an International Space Station and you're looking down at the planet, you have no idea there's a pandemic going on because you're looking down and you can't see it to that level.
Right. But as individuals, as single people, as your Dave Martins and your Jason Roscoms and your, you know, Kelly Olsons and everything like that. Like, this is something that could directly affect our lives. You know, if you get this, it could potentially kill you. So
yeah,
there's that kind of back and forth, you know, is
until it's in your face. Like, it's really tough to understand.
Yeah,
it really is. The human condition, right? Where we are from a social psychological standpoint is we're humans that have been acclimated to having this level of freedom, that we're able to do things that if you had told somebody 3 centuries ago that this is the level of like what we would be able to do with technology and a level of travel and everything else, you tell those people that, are like, they think you're out of your fucking mind.
Yeah.
And then to get back to and we're at a point where the technology, this disease just happens to have caught us at a point where the technology can't quell it faster than we could fucking tolerate it.
It's a weird dichotomy, right?
Yeah.
Where like we're so technologically advanced at this point with the internet and just everything being so easy, but at the same time, we've got this fucking virus that if you and I get even within 6 feet of each other, we could fucking kill each other. Potentially.
Yeah.
You know?
And the idea, like in our lifetime, how many times, like with the AIDS virus and Ebola, and we've seen all these things happen, and we seem like, okay, we've managed that.
Yeah.
Like we put a clamp on it, fucking stops bleeding, cool, everybody gets better, then we move on with our lives. Not this.
Yeah.
And it's, you know, we throughout the centuries, you know, you talk about the, you know, the early 1900s with the Spanish flu and everything else, probably the closest.
Yeah.
And where we are technology wise is like fucking like to Jupiter and back. But the reality is that our technology has not gotten to a point where it can solve this problem faster than we can tolerate it as a human species. And it's that level of toleration. It's the human being that wants to go and do all the normal things. Like, oh well, this should already have been handled. Fuck it.
Well, that's one of the things about the human condition, right? One of the things that we depend on, that we crave, that we need is that interpersonal human interaction.
Sure.
You know, if, you know, you isolate somebody, and we're going to talk about this next week.
Yeah.
With the Mars conversation, you know, you isolate somebody for so long, they're going to get fucking stir crazy. They're going to, I need to get fucking outside. I need to go associate with other people.
Yeah.
I need this. That's
100%. That is, it's part of our DNA.
Yeah. And when you cut that off, and when you say no, you cannot be social.
Yeah.
You cannot go and like be in face-to-face contact with these other people.
Yeah, it's one of those where doing it over Zoom, you can't. The basic take out the politics, take out the economy, take out all these things, and really what it comes down to is like existence. Our existence as humans, we need to have this human interaction. You need to have, if you're going to launch somebody in space, you can't just launch one person in there for any longer than a fucking orbit or two. And in that time, they're in constant contact with people on the ground.
Yep.
So you have to have somebody there. There has to be another human there. Otherwise, that book series that Vickers had turned me on to with the Bob, right? The Bobiverse. And the idea, even him as like basically taking his brain and digitizing it and putting it into this like sentient computer system. Like it's his brain. But even him, like being this, like he's basically immortal. At the same time, it's like he can't operate by yourself. He can't be in that fucking that isolation.
You need that stimulation with another person of equal status or whatever.
Right. And as humans, that's where we are. We're here with our the human condition. We're trying to will the technology to happen that we can fucking go back to normal.
Yeah.
And the reality is that we're not. We're in this. It's a very, very tumultuous time when it comes to shit like that.
Yeah.
And it's one of those where you kind of have to, I know. Believe me, I know. Like I thank God I have this podcast, and thank God I have, like Lodge, and I'm so busy. I have all the stimulus because I don't have my normal interactions.
Think about this. Think about if you and I had not gotten COVID at the same time. I mean, let's be honest.
Yeah.
I got COVID and I gave it to you.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the reality,
yep.
Right? Imagine if that hadn't happened. Imagine if I had gotten it, but you hadn't, or neither of us had gotten it. Like the level of
we wouldn't have the same level of candor.
Like this show would not be what it is right now if either of us had COVID. So
yeah, one without the other. Like really difficult for me to fucking validate that. Like he had it. I'm sitting 6 feet away from him. I mean, we're basically like 5 feet away from each other right now.
Mm-hmm.
And if I hadn't got it and wasn't part of the carrier stream, right? Because there is that part was like, okay, I've asymptomatic and I had it, but I gave it to somebody else. No, like, no. You had it. We're asymptomatic up until the next fucking day.
Yeah.
And then I and fucking 8 days later, then I have it. Like, so it was the fucking the perfect amount of the incubation period and everything else.
Yeah.
But if neither of us got it and we're like being told that we can't do things and everything else, I think we'd be in the same boat. It's like, fuck, dude,
there's whole dynamic would be different.
Yeah. It's like how, like, I can't tell you that I would be a fucking mask guy.
Yeah.
Because I hate it. I fucking hate it.
Oh, I do too.
But at the same time, it's like I've been there already and I don't want to go there again.
Yeah. And that's the big thing is the reinfection rate. And
yeah, we don't know if we're impervious to it. And it's been months since we had it. And there's studies out there that show that even after you've had it for so long, like after so many months, that fucking immunity goes away.
Mm-hmm.
There's still so much science. So much science that needs to happen right now. And we need to let our intellect as a human species, we need to let all those smart people that don't care about the politics, don't care about anything else, put the smart guy in a room that's not making enough money. They're doing it because they fucking genuinely have this appreciation for the human species, or they're egomaniacs and they just want to be the guy to fucking find the answer. Right. Regardless, I mean, we have both of that. We have people like Pester, we have Madame Curie, we have all these people that were like, they were doing it for the betterment of people, but no, they came across something while they were working towards something else.
Right.
So whatever the reason, we need all the smart people to be fucking putting their energy into this and avoiding all the nonsense. We're in an unfortunate place as the most powerful country in the world, as the number one economy in the world, as the gold standard of the human population of this planet. In my estimation, obviously I'm biased, but we've
been around the world though.
Yeah,
we know.
In that regard, like with the political situation we had, whatever side you land on, there was a dynamic there with the timing because of the election. So it's an unfortunate reality of politicizing where we are with this disease. So you only can hope that going forward, if all this shit finally settles, all the dust settles after all this, wherever we go, that next vector is going to be the one that says, okay, fucking we swam through all that bullshit. Here we are on the other side of it. Let's actually fucking solve the problem. Because we can do it. We can solve getting to Mars. We can solve going to the fucking moon. We can solve putting people back in a spacecraft. It's a matter of the will.
Yeah.
That's
the big thing, go back to the fucking Kennedy days, right? Where John F. Kennedy is like, we will put a man on the fucking moon before the end of this decade, right?
We can talk about that too. Because I read that Kennedy book. I read that Kennedy, I forget the name of the book. I talked about it on the show.
Yeah.
But I read that Kennedy book. It was basically all about how coming out of the Eisenhower years and what Kennedy, like the reality of what Kennedy was doing with NASA at that point. But the ends justify the means, right?
Yeah.
Especially as we sit here right now. So I am willing to go through what we have to go through to get to the other side of this, to get back to some sort of normalcy. Yeah. But the reality is we're never going to be back. Like not to 100%, not to where everything was. There's always going to be some level, like this cow got out of the barn. There's going to have to be some method to fucking try and keep it locked up for next time. But we're going to develop a plan that we can take off the shelf to see, okay, how do we do this better this next time? Otherwise we're doomed for failure. Yeah. We're doomed to fucking not live generations past our current existence. Because if we don't learn from this, despite all that, then the human condition is going to fucking it's going to fucking run itself out.
Yeah.
You have to be able to learn from shit like this. This is not a United States thing. It's not a Biden or a Trump thing. This is the human condition.
Yeah.
That we're dealing with. And excellent segue into what we're going to talk about next week, because you can't have a conversation about these extra ordinary missions to like Mars or the moon or places like that. There's a lot of people that is like, well, we've already been to the moon. Well, yeah, we've already been to a lot of places.
Yeah.
But if you're going back to the moon to make sure that you can go further than that.
Yeah. And that's the thing. Like, we're thinking long term, right? Mm-hmm. If humanity is to be eternal, it has to be away from planet Earth.
Yeah.
Period. Like, at some point, we are going to have to abandon this planet.
Yeah.
And colonize other
because in like
locations,
because
whatever they may be.
In 2 billion years, we're going to be at a point where fucking as the star is starting to burn itself out and it's starting to go from that fucking, it's burning the hydrogen in the fucking in its fusion reaction, and it starts turning into like developing into a red dwarf. Like it's the fucking density is going to change, the fucking the amount of heat, the ultraviolet. There's so much science. There's so much science that is so far ahead of us right now that's even tough to think about.
Yeah.
But I'll leave you with this. I want you to step outside, wherever you are right now. I want you to step outside, and hopefully there's no clouds where you are.
Yeah.
But if you step outside and you look up and you're looking at any one of those points of light in the sky, you have to understand how old that light is.
Yeah. And how far away.
It is so far away that we, as humans, we can barely imagine it.
Yeah.
Barely imagine it.
Even if you walk outside right now and you look at Mars, right? Mars is pretty prevalent in our night sky right now.
Yeah.
It's very bright.
Yeah, it's the closest it's been in fucking...
It's right there every time I wake up in the morning.
Right.
We're still hundreds of millions of miles away.
Yeah. Yeah, and that light is still, it ages like a radio signal to tell somebody to do something on Mars. It takes fucking 5 hours or 5 hours. I forget. But it takes hours for a command signal to go all the way to Mars to fucking tell
30 minutes, but who's counting, right?
No, it's what am I thinking about? You know what? Never mind. We'll get
30 minutes to get a light speed signal from Mars and back.
Light speed.
Yeah.
But that's not radio. Radio is a completely different thing. We'll get into this. We'll get into the science next week.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's my thing. Go out and look out at the stars and know that the light that you're looking at from that star is you're seeing light that existed and started and emanated from that star probably before a billion years before humanity even existed.
Yes, if you're looking at actual stars,
right?
Yeah,
not planets,
not Mars,
actual stars.
Yeah,
and go out and look at Alpha Centauri, which is one of the is the closest to us. So anyway, good stuff for next week. I'm ready for a very sciencey, very ethereal fucking episode.
Yeah.
Of the Gen X POV goes to fucking Mars. Episode.
Ooh, I like that. That we should call it that. Gen X POV goes to Mars.
Yep. Mars bitches.
MARS.
Mars bitches.
That's where we are going. Mars. Red Rocks.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I guess that's the end.
Do we have a download confirmation of the audio? I know.
Oh, it's done.
Okay.
Been done.
Nice.
Somebody's messaging me on Facebook, though.
What? Fucking
people like me. Apparently.
How long does it take to? Here we go.
All right, so that's that. A lot of people are commenting on how much I've had to drink and everything else. So
Tom's off to watch a football game. Good for you.
Cook. We need Cook to score
right.
at least 30 points.
Hey, my game this week is already won. But
mine too. But I need him to get enough points to get me to first place.
I'm just taking the W and running right now. I'm just trying to
make. I want it all. I want to take it. I want to just like no lube, just shove it in there and
and then get rejected like you usually do.
Wow.
That's all of us.
That's
man.
where he went.
That's all of us.
Yeah. So
thinking about it as I sit here. Yeah, it's like 20 minutes or something.
20 minutes.
20. I'm racking my brain.
Light speed to get from Mars.
No, for a radio signal to get not necessarily the speed of light.
Yeah, but it's 20 minutes.
It's like 20 minutes, not 5 hours. I don't know where 5 hours came from. The problem with listening to the Pale Blue Dot is that this was written in the 90s. And they talk about technology that we've surpassed.
And it's so funny to think about too, like what they perceived in the 90s.
Oh,
versus where we are now.
Yeah, they did a whole chapter on where they thought we would be, and then like we're doing so much better than that. It's pretty remarkable. Although I'm listening to audiobook and it's not Carl Sagan, it's his wife, and his wife's voice is really.
Why his wife?
I guess, I mean, she had a connection to it. She's also a doctoral and fucking whatever. So it's not like she doesn't have but she's reading her husband's book and she doesn't have a voice for doing it.
Right.
It's very like crackly. It's very like she's all emotional in some parts about it. And it's just like,
who gets emotional? Like, fuck that.
Because her husband's dead and she's reading his book.
Oh, he's dead?
Carl Sagan's been dead. Yes. For a while. He died of cancer a while ago.
I didn't realize. Like, I knew fucking Stephen Hawking was dead, but I didn't know Carl Sagan was dead.
Nice.
Whoops, my bad.
Yeah. Well, it's okay. It's not current events.
Apparently not.
Not by about 2 decades, but that's okay.
All right.
I think he died in 96, I want to say.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
He's been dead for a while.
I didn't even know who he was until like 3 years ago. So
all right. I'm ready to sign off.
Yes. Yes, he is.
Ready, everybody?
All right. Well, thanks guys for sticking with us.
I'm looking at a screen that doesn't have anything on it because I'm supposed to be looking at the camera. Well, no. I closed the window that's on this screen. This screen was always fine. This one, it's the regular laptop one. I kept lagging up. But it never locked up the whole computer. So all I had to do was like minimize and reopen it, and it came back. So it's just fucking weird electron shit. This is why I have to reboot my computer before we start the pod.
Sure.
Because all the bullshit that I've been doing all day on this machine gets fucking churned out.
Right. All right. Well, thanks again, everyone, and we will see you next week.
Peace out, bitches. Mars, bitches.
That's where we are going. Mars, Red Rocks.
Yeah.